The Electric Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game. They're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that. Hello. Welcome into the show, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. However you're listening, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or live here on 100.9 The Mitt, we appreciate you making us a part of your day. A lot to get you today. We're going to start comparing all the teams, all of them, every single one of them. And who's the most likely to win a championship? We'll get your thoughts on that. I'll give mine. Kyle will give his. Fun show planned out. The Lions were justified in one decision that they made earlier this offseason after some news yesterday. And, of course, the Tigers lost last night. Look, man, we can dissect that loss if we really want to. Why they lost, what do they have to do? Really what it comes down to is today you have to win. I'm deeming it the second must-win game of the season. The Cleveland rubber match was the first one. Now you're at a point where you can't continue to slip down the standings. They just got to win today, and yesterday was forgiven. So we're not going to sit here, bang our fists, do the, this isn't a playoff team, this is a playoff team based on one game against the Pirates. I thought Kiter Montero pitched well. Ashcraft pitched even better. They're going up against the B version of Skenes today, who's been hurt for what feels like the last 2 months. Job on the mound as well. That's at 12:30. They may have lost yesterday. You know what they didn't lose as bad as is the Seattle Mariners, who at one point were in this wild card race. I think yesterday, over the last 2 days, at some point, I told you, Kyle, if this team loses, feels like they're probably just out of it. And you said, I don't know, they're only 2 games out. And then they proceeded to lose 22-0 last night against the Brewers. 22-0.
I take back what I said.
The largest shutout win since 1900. Look, it's a local show. We like to talk about the Tigers. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on the Brewers or the Seattle Mariners, even though the Tigers have had their fair share of battles with the Mariners, though. How can this not be discussed to open up the show, though? 22-0? At one point yesterday, Julio Rodriguez caught a ball in center field. There was only 1 out. He thought there was 3. He caught a ball, which was the second recorded out, and he just launched it into the crowd to give some fan a souvenir, and then another run came through to score. This is one of the worst losses in the history of the game. I'm sorry to any Seattle Mariners fan out there. I know one guy that lives in this region who is a Mariners fan from Seattle. Your season's done after last night. That is one of the worst things I've ever seen happen to a team that going into yesterday's game was still in the wild card race. You don't get to lose 22-0 and still make the playoffs.
Yeah, like technically still in the wild card race, but
sure.
I'll keep it local. I mean, what are the conversations that we're having if that happened to the Tigers yesterday? That's
done.
how I
It's
always
over.
like to think about it. You know, like when the Dolphins lost 70-0 to the Broncos, or the other way around. When the Dolphins beat the Broncos 70-0. I try to envision, like, what if that happened to our team? What if we just lost 22-0, the worst shutout loss in the modern era of baseball, which goes back 126 years? Like, what are we even discussing? The season's over, even if we're 1 game back, the wild card?
Yeah, probably. I don't know what else there would be to say other than, yeah, the season's over. I'm done with this team. I want everybody.
Fire AJ Hinch.
Fire AJ Hinch. Fire Scott Harris. Sell the team Chris Ilitch. After a loss like that, there's nothing else to say but all 3 of those things the morning after on a talk radio show, on a sports talk show. 22-0. Man,
Yeah, what's
they
Seattle
had
radio
45
like today?
at-bats, plus 5 walks. So 50 plate appearances in total, plus all the outs. What? Every single person in their lineup scored. They had 11 different guys go to the plate. Every single one of them crossed home. And 8 of them crossed home more than once. What do you do in the morning? How do you, if you're a Seattle Mariners player,
How do you go out for the next game?
how do you drive home how do you walk back to the hotel room and still want to go play baseball for the rest of the season? You're 2 games out, yet your season is over after a loss like that.
And they're coming off of a series win against Houston, like against the first place team in the division. It was like, okay, we bounced back after this really rough stretch we've been on. Okay, here we go. Let's build something. This Brewers team is pretty good, but nope, 22-0. How do you even play the rest of this series?
I don't know. I'm
unbelievable.
trying to think of what the equivalent for that for our job would
The
be.
what?
The
Equivalent?
I'm trying to think of what that would be with our job. We're like, that would be like if microphones stopped working, stream went out,
Studio blew up and is on fire.
yeah, lights turned off in the middle of the show.
Everything's
We
falling.
lose
All the stuff
power,
behind you is falling down, like an earthquake type stuff.
dead air radio, and it's just like everything that possibly could have
the
went
cardless
wrong
cans are exploding.
went wrong. Yeah, the car. How do you go do a show the next day? How do you forget about that? Everything that happened. Because not only did your staff give up 22 runs, you scored 0. You had 5 hits. It'd be one thing if it was 22-7.
22-3.
Sure.
Anything but 0.
22 it's the worst loss since 1900 in terms of a shutout loss. Look, I can't imagine. You know, we talk about the run differential all the time on this show. I guess not all the time, but it's worthy of bringing up because the Tigers have had the number 1 run differential in baseball since June 1st, number 1 run differential in the American League right now. Could you imagine going from what the Tigers are plus like 87 right now in run differential and that dropping 22 runs in a single game? That is 4 weeks worth of great baseball to make up for. You just everything. Not that run differential determines a playoff spot or anything, but building all of this up, we got the number 1 run differential, and that's just wiped away from you in one singular game to the point where this is going to take 4 weeks to recover from. What's worse, going 6-22 in May or going one game where you lose 22-0? I'd argue it might be what happened last night.
Well, I mean, think about it. It's either 0-22 or 6-22. I'll take the one that has 6.
And I got to tell you, if there's one team outside of the AL Central that I would wish this upon, it probably is the Seattle Mariners after the drama that they've caused with the Tigers over the past year and a half. I do not like these guys, and I can't say I was heartbroken to see that this happened to them. It brought a little bit of a smile to my face this morning when I woke up.
Naylor.
When I woke up, saw this score, and the first thing that popped up in my feed was Julio Rodriguez launching a ball into center field when the game is still actively being played. I just couldn't help but to laugh a little bit. Like, yep, there's not officially because they're like still in it, of course. There's one more team that the Tigers probably don't have to worry about in the wild card race. I think one team just plucked themselves from the wild card contention race last night after a 22. Yes, self-destruction, self-elimination. This team is no longer qualified to be in playoff conversations after a 22-0 loss.
Well, then if you take Seattle out of the mix, then the Tigers are, guess what, the next team up because they're behind all of these other teams now because I'm doing early scoreboard watching, but Cleveland won last night, the Twins winning last night, Toronto winning last night, Texas winning last night. Last night was not a good night for the standings for Detroit.
No, not at all. But a win here today kind of makes up for everything that happened yesterday. Again, like, we're not going to sit here and react to the loss. It was a loss, you know. The Pirates pitched really well. I thought the Tigers, Cutter Montero pitched well too. It wasn't enough yesterday, and you got to tip your cap to the Pirates. You win today, it makes up for yesterday. You just can't afford to lose series anymore. So as long as you're taking 2 of 3 more often than not, I don't really have a problem with last night's loss. I don't think it's worth dissecting and picking apart. Was there anything that stood out in the game last night for you that is worth mentioning? Because for me, it's, Kiter pitched fine, and that was kind of just it.
Brett Callahan went deep. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, good to see that. But
Tigers rookies continuing to thrive.
Exactly. Ashcraft for Pittsburgh has just been really hot lately, and the Tigers happen to run into him at a bad time. Like, the offense just couldn't get it going. It's about all you had.
Yeah, and now you've got a really intriguing pitching matchup today between Jackson Jobe and Paul Skenes, the guy who was not that long ago considered the best. I mean, both these guys in the last 3 years have been considered the best prospects in baseball in terms of pitching. Paul Skenes got to the very top, and short of a Cy Young,
Skenes
was
like
the best pitcher in baseball.
Never really was a prospect. Really,
also true.
Really didn't have his time as a prospect, but yeah, of course was the considered the best one.
And now has fallen into a pretty weird funk where he can't throw 97 miles per hour anymore, which was kind of his whole thing. Every fastball he threw was going to be damn near 100 miles per hour. He can't even get to like 97 over the past month or so. He's clearly pitching a little fatigued. That's part of the reason why he is pitching today rather than in the series opener.
Yeah.
Going up against Jobe, who got lit up in his first start or in his last start, and in his first start looked pretty good in a limited sample size. So a really intriguing pitching matchup today, and I hope that doesn't overshadow how important of a game this actually is as a rubber match here at 12:30. You win today, makes up for yesterday. You lose today, all of a sudden, you're starting to dig yourself a hole yet again, and the playoffs are going to become a little bit more and a little bit more out of reach if you continue to lose series. You just can't really afford to lose series anymore, to be honest, especially against the Pirates. And it's not like this is a team that's also in playoff contention in this American League wildcard race, but it's a winnable series is essentially what I'm saying. And to lose this one with, 36 games left? Yeah, it's starting to punch yourself more than anything. Got to win today. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. The show, as always, is brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Protect your home with Bresky Siding and Building Repair, the experts who do the job right the first time. Whether you have a leaky roof, a storm damage, the siding on your home looking a little tired, Bresky has you covered. Locally owned, trusted, and dedicated to keeping Midland area homes safe and looking sharp. Quality materials, skilled craftsmanship, and service that puts your family first. Don't wait for the next storm. Call Bresky Siding and Building Repair today and keep your home strong for years to come. One more note, the Tigers do not play tomorrow. So teams that do play tomorrow, Cleveland, Seattle again, I guess we kind of eliminated them. Chicago, New York, and Baltimore will finish their series. Like the Tigers playing on Monday, and they gained a game there. Thursday is going to be a big day, even though that they don't play a game, because there's a bunch of other teams that are still competing to win this. 9 o'clock hour brought to you by Iron Stack Technology. We talk about the game plan all the time on the show, the execution of it. That's how Iron Stack approaches IT. You know who didn't execute their game plan yesterday? The Seattle Mariners. They help businesses stay secure, efficient, and ready for what's next so you can focus on your mission instead of your technology. Iron Stack Technology, solution-driven, mission focused. Check them out online at ironstacktechnology.com. We want to compare every team and their chances to win a championship when we come back here on the Ben Bosscher Show.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt. Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, we're giving away free golf at 10:15 thanks to Sandy Ridge and thanks to our friends at Garber Chevrolet who make Big Win Wednesday possible. That's at 10:15, so about an hour from now we will give away some free golf. Kyle, in the meantime, let's discuss just an overarching theme with the teams that we like to talk about here. And I'm gonna excuse Michigan State and Michigan basketball here for a second. It's so far away, and I'm not ready to talk about it. But the four major teams in Detroit, Red Wings, Pistons, Tigers, Lions, and then let's throw Michigan State and Michigan football into this as well. What team is gearing up to win a national championship or a Super Bowl, a championship? What team is in the best position to win a trophy? Bring one of those suckers home to Detroit or Ann Arbor or East Lansing. I promise you the answer to this question is not going to be East Lansing, unfortunately. But I pulled up the odds for every single one of these teams. The Lions to win the Super Bowl, 18-1. The Pistons to win the NBA Finals, 25-1. Michigan to win the national championship, 40-1.
Same odds as MSU to win the Big Ten.
The Tigers to win the World Series, 50-1, which caught my eye. And then the Red Wings are 100-1 to win the Stanley Cup this year. What do you think? They're like 15-1 to have a GM by the time the season starts?
15-1. You're missing a team in there.
Oh,
for
yeah.
The national champ for their odds.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's listed right here. Michigan State, 125,000 odds.
1250-1.
Yeah, 1250-1. Bet $1, win 1,000. It's the same odds as Central Michigan and every other MAC school to win the national championship. So Vegas actually does think it's the Lions. To no surprise, I agree with that. I do think the Lions are in a position better than any other team to win a championship, and the Detroit sports drought. That's just the Detroit sports. I know Michigan has no droughts of national championships ongoing right now, but I'll tell you what surprised me. The Tigers being 50-1 when they kind of have just played like the best team in the American League for a while now. I know the Dodgers exist, and that can't just be ignored, but the Tigers at 50-1 having longer odds than Michigan to win the national championship caught my eye because I think the Tigers are playing well, yet Vegas still views Michigan as the better team. And I think there's a couple different ways to view this Michigan season. One, gauntlet of a schedule, first-year head coach. Really Bryce Underwood's first, real season with expectation. I know last year, in the moment, there was a ton of expectation, but looking back and understanding the situation that was put in front of Bryce Underwood with a head coach that was distracted, I guess we can just use that word, distracted, no quarterbacks coach, that team still won 9 games. That's kind of the other way to look at this. 9 games with pretty mediocre quarterback play from Bryce Underwood. There is a world where you unlocked Bryce Underwood. He looks like, it doesn't even have to look like the best quarterback in college football by any means, but you look like a guy who has a very bright future. A 9-win team last year, and all of a sudden, maybe Michigan is kind of nasty now that they have an adult in the room to be their head coach. Again, the thing working against them is the schedule is just really tough. But I thought it was very interesting that Michigan was only 40-1 odds to win the national championship. To me, that was shorter than I expected, to be quite honest, with year one of Kyle Whittingham. That does mean that there is some real expectation here. If we played the season out 40 times, Michigan's going to win the national championship, one of them. That's not impossible to happen this year. Am I predicting that to happen? No, not at all. But it does kind of feel like, if you ask me playoffs, whether or not Michigan's going to make the playoffs, it really just comes down to, do you think they're going to beat Oklahoma? Because I don't think they're going to beat Ohio State this year. Sorry, Michigan fans. I know that's going to upset you, but on the road. And I don't think you're going to beat Oregon. Okay, there's 2 losses. I think you're going to be good against Penn State. You still have to play Indiana, so you got to prove it there. You have to beat Oklahoma week 2, because if you lose that game, it's a swing game for the playoffs. it's going to be pretty tough to lose to Oklahoma and still make a playoff case, because that's going to mean you have to beat Indiana. You have to beat 2 of the 3 of Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State, right? You can beat Oklahoma and then afford to lose 2 of those 3 games, which gives Michigan a lot of wiggle room. And then, once you hit the postseason, you just got to be playing playing hot at the right time. And I think Bryce Underwood from week 1 to week 12 should look a lot better. And Kyle Whittingham and Michigan should have a lot of things figured out by then, and it should look a lot more clean. 40-1 caught my eye. I thought that was the most intriguing odds that I listed as those 6 teams that we're kind of bringing into the fold here.
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. Obviously, you named off some of those teams that are in their conference. Like when you think about ranking the Big Ten, just without actually like diving deep into it, Michigan falls somewhere in the 4 to 6 range, right? More likely 5 or 6.
Second tier. Like, there's the national championship tier, and then there's that next tier. Michigan's probably in that.
Yeah, I would argue maybe they're in a 3rd tier, because I'm not putting Oregon in the national championship tier, a team that just clearly can't get to the national championship game. So I would probably go Indiana, Ohio State at the top, and then you've got your Oregon. You've got, I guess maybe Michigan is in that next tier, because then you have USC, you have Penn State, you have Washington. Michigan probably falls somewhere in the mix of those teams. So they're in the top 8 of the Big Ten. And being in the top 8 of your conference sounds crazy to be like, what, this team has national championship odds? Welcome to 2026. Because the top 8 of the Big Ten and the top 8 of the SEC are all going to have very good chances of getting into the college football playoffs. So when you put it in terms of that, you're like, oh, man, really? Like, this team has a chance to win a national championship? If this was this upcoming season to win the national championship, I would say, well, there's no chance. Michigan's not winning it.
40-1 seems about right.
But if we're giving a window here, if let's say none of the Detroit teams win it in the next calendar year, Michigan could have a chance to win it the following year. I really do believe that. I'm not saying that they are going to be way better off next season than they will coming into this year, but the future of Michigan football looks pretty good. And you're right in the fact that them being only plus 40,000 is a little bit surprising, just because they have yet to have some major success post winning the national championship in 2023. Pretty good last year, but also lost to all the good teams on their schedule, and the schedule has more good teams on it this year.
Yeah.
It's going to make things a little bit tougher.
Coach. You just said Michigan has a bright future. Can you imagine if I told you that 8 months ago, when it looked like this program was never going to recover from the 3rd scandal in 3 years?
Maybe bright future isn't the word, but it's just you have Bryce Underwood again. If he didn't leave this offseason, he's not leaving next offseason.
Correct. And that's my whole stance heading into this season. It's Kyle Whittingham kind of is in a playoff or bust season. You have to make the playoffs to be successful in my mind, which is a tough task for year number 1. But you also have this 2-year window with Bryce Underwood where he's there's nothing that is suggested based on the tape he's put on for Michigan that he's going to be going to the NFL right now. But
especially with guys getting 5 years now, and it makes more sense to stay longer.
Exactly. But you also have to recognize after next season, he's at the very least draft eligible. That's just something that is happening. So I would say this year you have to get him some playoff experience. You have to make the playoffs, get a taste of what the postseason looks like. That way next year, in what theoretically could be his final season. I'm not saying it will be, but could be.
But if they're national championship contenders,
he probably will be.
That means he's pretty good.
Exactly. That means you have a 2-year window here, and I would like for Michigan, if you're a fan of theirs, you want to see them have a little bit of postseason experience, whether it's Whittingham, the rest of the staff, Underwood, the rest of the player. It doesn't matter. Just get into the postseason, get a taste of what that feels like, playing on the road potentially, big-time stakes. You need to get a taste of that so you can actually feel like going into the next season, which could be Bryce Underwood's last year, that you can win a national championship once you do get to the playoffs. Because I think it's tough to sell yourself as a national championship team, as no one on this staff has really been a part of a playoff game before. That's why I think they have to make the playoffs this year.
I agree. And I also think that, we talk about getting that experience for Bryce Underwood this year. I don't know about you, but last year, I don't remember the name of the bowl. I think it was the Cheez-It Bowl. Texas, Michigan last year.
Yeah,
that
Cheez-It Bowl.
felt like a playoff game. I know it wasn't, obviously, but just the fact that it was Bryce versus Arch.
It was great.
And it was easily the best game I had watched Arch play. You know, I didn't watch every single Texas Longhorns game last year.
Arch got way better as the season went on.
Arch was awesome in that game. And that was the first taste of like, wow. Like getting a matchup like this in a real playoff game
would be
huge. And so them getting just a tiny bit of a, oh, this is what this could be like, already is working towards that. And that was pre-Kyle Whittingham. So, and that was obviously all the draft picks and everything not competing in that game either.
Yeah, that was the Biff Poggi Wolverines.
That's right. And Biff Poggi he's going to be a college football analyst this year.
For who?
I forget which network. Yeah, it's CBS or one of those networks, yeah.
Imagine maybe
Everybody
that was a
loves
little
that
bit
guy,
of a
man.
preview. Maybe this upcoming playoffs, we get a Texas versus Michigan match.
That
Both
would be so
teams
sick.
looking to make the playoffs with their superstar
A
quarterback.
couple guys that rock number 19, right? Doesn't Arch wear 19?
I believe he does.
Pretty
yeah.
weird.
989-837-6125. What are Michigan's chances to not only make the playoffs but win a national
Yeah, are
championship?
you saying they're
this year?
number one on the next champion list here? Sounds like
I
you're all
still
in.
think the Lions are. The Pistons are just so tough because the rest of the East has just become so good in the blink of an eye. And I'm not sure the Pistons have made themselves a championship. They haven't. They haven't put themselves in the championship group yet. Whereas I see the vision with Michigan. I see it over the next 2 years. They've got a pretty good chance. I think it's the Lions would be my answer at 18-1. And then Michigan would probably be my second right now because the Pistons failed to make a really strong offseason move that I can confidently say made them better. That would be my answer. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on the Mitt. We talk about having the home field advantage all the time on this show. Well, if your home or businesses use propane, the company with the advantage is Forward Energy. Since 1925, they've been serving our local community with propane and fuel solutions for homes, businesses, and more. Local people, reliable service, Forward Energy, part of the home team.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
Oh yeah.
by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, welcome back in, 989-837-6125. We will get to your thoughts on who is the most likely next champion, Michigan football, all of it coming up. First, let's hit the news.
The Mitts Morning Catch.
Okay, right back into the news. Let's start off with the Covenant Healthcare Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Injury Report. AJ Hinch announcing yesterday that both James Outman and Wenzel Perez of the Tigers are doing baseball work at AAA Toledo, but neither is ready to play in games, just doing work there while the Tigers are on the road. No mention of Riley Green in the latest injury update of the Tigers, so I don't necessarily know if that's good or bad. We obviously got the bad update yesterday that Kerry Carpenter is seeing a foot specialist, so all three of these outfielders seem to not be returning anytime soon. Riley Green, though, is the one that we have a bit more of a question mark about. I still don't think it's going to be too long for him because they made a last-second decision to put him on the IL, not knowing if it was going to take 10 days for him to get better or not. Nonetheless, though, they got Brett Callahan back up, so it gives him more opportunity while those guys are out.
Did you catch Callahan's post-gamer after the game yesterday?
Oh, no, I did not.
It's funny because, look, I'm not trying. You can tell he's 22 or 21 or however old he is because they ask him the questions and he kind of has this like nervous laugh to close every question. It's just like, yeah, this is kind of wild, all these rookies, how much they've been contributing and like taking a step back and recognizing some of these are like legit kids just trying to figure it out and piece it together. And Callahan joins the list of Tigers who have made incredible first impressions through their first series. No, obviously the big four, it's really a big two between McGonigal and Clark, and then that second tier of Hauli and Eduardo Valencia. Callahan on the right track. Not saying he's earned a roster spot for the rest of the season, but hard to have a better first two games than what he's had.
Yeah, and hopefully he can keep it going. You mentioned earlier Tigers-Pirates Game 3 today, 12:35 first pitch. Random that it's this early. Jackson Jobe versus Paul Skenes. Very excited for this matchup. We really need Dylan Dingler to pop out today. He had a pinch hit appearance last night after getting the day off for the first time in like a month since coming back from that injury that he had around the All-Star break, and he struck out.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was fine with him not being in the game for the most part yesterday. Thought he could come up big in a moment, and I mean, they need him, man. Like, he can't have more of these games and more of these series, and if he has another week of them, the Tigers are likely going to be far out of the playoffs. Too far out of the playoffs at this point in the season to realistically think they can get there. They need Dylan Dingler right now more than they ever have needed him.
Yep, Tigers tied one game back at that final wildcard spot. They're tied with Baltimore and Cleveland. Minnesota and Toronto each a half game back. Texas holding on to that last spot at full strength right now. Across other things going on in baseball, a lot of stories last night. First off, Pete Crow Armstrong with another leadoff home run in the Cubs' victory. They beat the White Sox again last night. And a crazy PCA stat right here. Crow Armstrong is the first player in MLB history with 2 leadoff home runs and a walk-off in a 2-game span. He went leadoff homer, walk-off, next at-bat, leadoff home run. He's also the 13th player in the modern era to follow a walk-off home run with a leadoff home run the next day. Just crazy stuff for PCA. And in result of that, he has retaken the lead in the National League MVP race. This has really been hot lately because 2 days ago, both Pete Crow Armstrong and Shohei Ohtani went deep twice. I think they gave PCA a little bit more credit because it was a walk-off and it wasn't in Coors Field where Shohei Ohtani currently is playing.
Oh, you can't get knocked for that. You got to play where you're playing.
I don't know, man. They gave PCA a little bit more love for it, so maybe they are taking that into consideration. Right now, Crow Armstrong minus 165 to win the MVP with Ohtani at plus 130. Dylan Dingler's odds get worse by the day, in case you're wondering.
PCA has had this incredible season. I think he's a really fun player. Has turned himself into one of the biggest stars that we have in baseball. Of course, I want Ohtani to win this MVP, though. You know, like, here's one way to think about it. Okay, if who's third in odds? I know it's a two-man race. Or is there even anyone?
They don't. It's just those two, yeah.
Okay, if PCA pitched 40 innings this year, it wouldn't even be close, right? Or if Dylan Dingler pitched 40 innings this year, he'd probably be one of the favorites to win the American League Cy Young. Like, it's just kind of getting swept under the rug that, like, oh, yeah, Ohtani also pitched 40. If any other batter pitched 40 innings or however many innings Ohtani ended up getting to before they said he was only going to hit the rest of the year, I guess they haven't, like, really ruled him out for pitching again. He's just kind of shut down right now.
Yeah.
If any other position player was like, oh, here's 40 innings or 10 innings under your belt, we would think that's the greatest thing in the entire world and they would auto-win MVP. But because Ohtani stopped doing it, he's also getting knocked for it.
85 innings.
80. Okay, so double what I was talking about. Like, if any position player had 85 innings pitched under the belt, they'd win the MVP. But we've come
at a 1.8 ERA, by the way.
But now we're expecting him to go through the entire season of it, and just because he stopped doing it early, he's almost getting knocked for it. Of course I want Ohtani to win MVP. Of course I think he's worthy of it. I want him to win his 5th one, so he's 2 away from tying Barry Bonds, because I want to say I saw the greatest player of all time, and I think I'm doing that right now and every day with Ohtani that I get to watch him. I just want the awards and accolades to back me up on that.
Yeah, mine doesn't even go to a grand scheme case of like the whole I want him to have the most MVPs thing. I think it's just as simple as like, no, it's no knock at PCA at all. Shohei Ohtani should win the MVP every year that he does what he does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when he pitches and hits at a high level, it doesn't matter if he isn't starting every game and now he might get shut down for the rest of the year as a pitcher. He still has 30 bombs. He still leads the National League in OPS. He still has a 1.8 ERA in those 85 innings. Like, how is he not the MVP?
And is the number one person who has been intentionally walked in baseball. Maybe that should just be how the MVP is measured.
Then Bonds would have more.
Yeah.
And it's tough because I do think a good amount of this comes with some voters fatigue / Dodgers fatigue.
Yeah.
Not even voters. It's just like, oh, we're giving Shohei Ohtani the MVP again. Oh, the Dodgers, blah, blah, blah.
Yes, we are.
PCA, he's the cool guy. Like, no, man, let's take all that out of it. Ohtani is, maybe this is the best time to bet it now that it's plus 130. Like, this is the best Ohtani value you've had all year. So, and PCA's in the middle of like a really hot stretch, assuming it's not going to keep up. But
I'll give him this, man. He's an electric player.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, he's having an insane year, deservingly in MVP talks. And
you just happen to play with
right now is the favorite.
Could be the greatest player of all time.
To mention, Ohtani's team is better too. I think that probably should play into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, more stuff though, because yesterday some are saying Fernando Tatis had the best game of the season yesterday. Here's what he did. 2 home runs, which those two guys we were just talking about each had 2 home runs.
Colt Keith has 3 home runs in a game this year.
Yeah,
Come
true.
on.
He also robbed Francisco Lindor of a grand slam in the outfield. So he robbed a grand slam and hit 2 homers in a game.
It's pretty good, man.
Pretty good game.
It's tough to top one of those. He speaking of electrifying players. Oh, and he had the stare down when he did it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It was pretty nasty.
And he did that in the second. He did that early in the game. Yeah, the stare down afterwards makes it cool. He truly is one of the more like bigger stars that we've had in baseball. And I think, unfortunately, you know, with his suspension that he had a couple years back, that just kind of dampered what his ceiling was in terms of how big of a star he could become. He never needed to do any of that. He's so electric, man. He's so fun.
I don't think it's quite the best game of the year, though. But
no, I don't either.
Pretty good game. We're talking about home runs. Well, down in the Tigers minor league system, Bryce Rayner for the West Michigan Whitecaps. I don't know if you've been seeing what he's been up to, Ben. He's got 4 games in a row with a home run. 4 straight games
Rayner
with
does?
a homer.
Oh
Bryce Rayner does. Yeah, he's
September call.
He's hit an absolute. Well, not for he won't be in the bigs.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, but Bryce Rayner has been on an absolute hot streak lately. And speaking of Tigers young guys, we talked about him yesterday. It was Kevin McGonigle's birthday yesterday. So happy 22 to Kevin McGonigle. Tigers PR just putting out some fun McGonigle stats because they're always fun to go over for his birthday. Highest OPS among all Tigers players with 500-plus plate appearances before their 22nd birthday. Number 1, Al Kaline at 854. Number 2, Kevin McGonigle at 809. Number 3, Ty Cobb at an 801. Pretty electric company for Kevin McGonigle to join as he turned 22 yesterday. Happy birthday to him. We'll do one more thing here in the news before we save the rest for later. Talking about Michigan football earlier, Michigan football has announced their captains this season under Kyle Whittingham. Good to see Bryce Underwood is a captain as the sophomore quarterback. Running back Jordan Marshall joins the group. Senior defensive lineman Trey Pierce. And finally, Rod Moore joins the group, the safety, who is the first Michigan 3-time captain in like 200 years or something like that. Since like the 1800s, it's the first time they've had a 3-time captain. So shout out to Rod Moore, who returns for another season for the Wolverines.
989-837-6125. All right, quick shout out to our friends over at Eastman Party Store, your one-stop shop for everything you need this weekend. Whether you're grabbing cold drinks, snacks, or for the game, or realizing last minute that you do need ice, Eastman Party Store has you covered. If you're heading to a buddy's house, a party, or just chilling on the couch, make it easy on yourself. Gear up for the weekend today by swinging by Eastman Party Store. Get in, get out, and get on with your night. Eastman Party Store, quick stop, great selection, and always clutch when you need them most.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, Kyle, you texted me last night and said you had a hypothetical involving two, I guess they're current Detroit athletes, between Dylan Larkin and... Kinda, yeah. On the bubble, Dylan Larkin and Jalen Duren. So what do you got for me?
Okay, so this is just something that inspired from the news yesterday that Larkin sounds like he's going to be back on the Red Wings, right?
Yeah, I was pretty caught off guard by the reaction.
He didn't announce he was going to be back. The Red Wings announced that they are going to attempt to bring Dylan Larkin
Yeah,
back.
there was a report, and I couldn't believe how many fans were like, no, get rid of him. You're not trading a guy this late into the offseason. You don't even have a GM.
Right. And, like, at the end of the day, he only said 3 teams that they wanted to trade him to, and they don't even have a guy in place to trade him to either of those 3 teams. Just feels like he's going to be back, and he's a good player. You know, at the end of the day, we kind of do want good players still, right? You know? Anyways, here's the hypothetical. Dylan Larkin publicly announces, Red Wings fans, I apologize. I'm back. I'm ready to go. Let's do this thing. A public apology to the Red Wings fans for whatever happened. He's like, you know what? I've moved on. We're ready to go. Here we go. Bam. And this will probably solve any sort of lost fandom for Dylan Larkin because I'm very interested how game 1 is going to go at LCA. I really am. He announces that. With that notification comes a Shams bomb. Jalen Duren has refused to play for the Pistons this season. Jalen Duren will not play for the Pistons. However, it's not over yet. This hypothetical is not over.
Oh, my God.
Dylan Larkin goes on to lead the Red Wings to the playoffs. And the Wings make the playoffs and break their drought. So Larkin announces, you know what, I'm back. He takes the Wings to the playoffs. However, Jalen Duren has gotten to a point where he will not play for the Pistons this season. That's your hypothetical.
Do I get to know what happens with Jalen Duren, what assets they turn him into?
Did I say they were trading him?
He's just...
We don't know. He refuses to play for the Pistons. He won't play.
Which basically
means they're
cuts
trading
his
him,
value
or
in
he's
half.
taking the qualifying offer, which means they couldn't trade him because he would have a no-trade clause. So he would have to go somewhere he wants. There's your hypothetical number 1. There's an opposite.
There's only one?
There's an opposite version of this. Well, it's like you take this one or the other one.
Can I hear the other one first?
Yeah. That's where I was going. Here's the second one. It's essentially like the opposite of that. Jalen Duren extension is here. Oh, Jalen Duren got paid. You don't get to know the number, though. But he got paid. He got extended. It's not just the qualifying offer 1-year deal. Finally, all this stupid offseason stuff is here. It's done. Boom. Duren signs with the Pistons. However, we get the notification immediately after. Dylan Larkin heard about the Red Wings. They want to bring him back for the season. He's not having it. I refuse to play for the Red Wings this year. Dylan Larkin is out on playing for the Red Wings. And this isn't like the Duren situation where it's like, okay, I guess we just have to trade him now. Because who's trading Dylan Larkin? Which scenario would you prefer?
Well, okay, in the
One or
first
the
scenario,
other?
you told me that the Red Wings get to make the playoffs.
Yes.
Do I get to know how far the Pistons go?
No, because the Pistons, like,
They are a
with
playoff
Jalen
team.
Duren, they make the playoffs, you know? And obviously, I kind of juiced up the first scenario because you're a Pistons fan. If it was just, you get Larkin or Duren for this year, you're more of a Pistons fan. I think everyone kind of realizes that. So I wanted to spice up the first one a little bit by saying Larkin helps the Wings end their drought. And in both scenarios, you don't know what happens. You don't know if Duren, gets traded. You don't know where Larkin gets traded, what the assets are, none of that. It's just each of them are refusing to play for the respective Detroit teams for this upcoming season.
The issue is if Jalen Duren refused to play, that would basically cut his value in half. Dylan Larkin would do the same thing. Man. This is tough. I'm trying to think of what hypothetical would take less damage to the team that you're trading him.
What hurts the team less? Obviously, the Pistons have expectations of being an Eastern Conference contender this year. The Red Wings don't. I think that plays into this a little bit. But the Red Wings have the longest active playoff drought in the sport. that you would love to end?
Here would be my issue with going that direction. Ending the playoff drought, what does that mean? You get into the postseason, okay, congratulations, you're not attached to
I mean, it would feel nice to get over.
incompetency.
I think it's nice to end that. The Lions had the same playoff drought.
I agree, but there would be no real expectations for the Wings to do anything in the playoffs. It'd be like a sweet, thanks for getting us here. Now we're still stuck in sports hell, which is that middle ground of being good but not good enough to win a championship. I'm gonna go with Duran plays and they trade Larkin, which basically means they tear the entire thing down. They tear this thing down to the studs and rebuild it, which it would be a
who's
long
trading Dylan Larkin,
process.
though, like him refusing to play for the Red Wings. I don't know if that means anything.
What do you mean? Who's trading him?
They
Like,
don't
who's
have a
the
guy
GM?
in place to trade him.
I would really hope that by the time the season starts, they have some sort of GM. I would hope so. They're going to transfer Jeff Greenberg from Comerica Park to LCA.
Oh, you're going from finance to payroll.
Yeah. Scott Harris, hey, it's Chris Ilitch, Mr. Greenberg. I'd like to upgrade you. Now you won't have a Scott Harris in your way. You get to be the president of hockey operations. Okay, man. Way to really widen your search for the next GM.
Maybe Scott Harris is holding him back, though. Who knows?
I think people should be thanking Dylan Larkin, even if he does get traded. He's the lone guy who is able to get to Chris Ilitch's head and make sure that Steve Yzerman was fired.
Do you think Larkin will be more hated than not? Like let's just even say between these two guys, game 1 of the season this year, Red Wings and Pistons, which guy has a more negative fan reaction?
Larkin.
I think so too.
It's got to be Larkin.
I mean, he was actually asked for a trade. Duran just wants to get paid, which don't we all?
Yeah, during the reaction, it'll be like, oh, God.
Oh, this guy.
It almost doesn't matter what Duran does in the regular season. It matters what that guy does in April next year. With Larkin, it's like, if you're bad in the regular season, man, if you're not scoring 30 goals next year, people are going to let you hear it. People are going to let you hear it loud. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on the Mitt. We'll get back to Michigan football, odds to win the national championship, odds to win the Big Ten when we return. Live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Subscribe on YouTube. We will be right back with the 10 o'clock hour presented by Aird Insurance.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9.
Easy Electric Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Welcome back into the Ben Bosscher Show. I got to tell you guys, the Lions were justified in doing something yesterday, and that is the fact that Terrion Arnold got put on the commissioner's exempt list, not allowed to practice, not allowed to participate in games, even though the Seattle Seahawks attempted to sign him. They want him on their team, but Roger Goodell steps in and says, not with what this guy's got going on. There's still an active armed robbery case. This guy's still wearing an ankle monitor. No, he's not allowed to practice. So congrats to Seattle for signing him. But no, this guy is certainly not allowed to practice because he could end up in jail for all we know for all of these crimes that are being alleged against him right now. And reminder, you can go read the Detroit News piece on all this stuff. None of it looks good. I read that for the first time in February and was like, yeah, this guy's just for sure going to end up in jail. It gets totally forgotten about. And then, boom, it comes back and we get more details. And once again, when that story came out in, what was that, June, July? Yeah, it would have been July. It's like, yeah, this guy's for sure just going to end up in jail. I'm not really going to waver from that. It's the NFL. Lawyers getting paid a ton of money to get these guys the best deals. So maybe that doesn't end up happening. But I'd be shocked if Terrion Arnold was not found guilty of all those things. Just the way it was worded, and it's just going to be really hard to be proven innocent in this. Again, I'm not a lawyer, so I'll skip out on that part of it. I will jump in and say I do feel a little bit of justification that he got put on the exempt list, because when Seattle signed him and when Seattle basically said, we think this guy can help us out on defense, the reigning Super Bowl champions, the best defense in the NFL last year, that team acknowledging this guy's talent and wanting to add him, I was like a little salty about it. Like, man, maybe the Lions made a decision a little too early to cut him. And yesterday with Goodell getting put on the exempt, or with Goodell putting Terrion Arnold on the exempt list, I got to say I was a little justified. Like, okay, the Lions did make the right decision after all. Plus, he was never all that good at football.
Yeah, I think that's the main part there. I do think that this probably was always going to happen. The signing of Arnold to Seattle still is technically not even gone through. Mm-hmm. It was just the attempt at signing him where Goodell was like, okay, I mean, this guy's clearly got a lot going on right now. Probably not smart to let him join another team until we know what's going to happen. I think that they still could sign him, and it sounds like they still want to. Seattle does. That's what Ian Rappaport says. Yeah. So I still think that he probably likely ends up a Seahawk. Does he end up
if he plays
behind bars is the real question, is what's going to happen with Terrion Arnold.
And I think if Terrion Arnold misses out on this season, his career's probably just done, right? Like, you don't usually just get to miss a full year of football.
Unless it's like a suspension.
But think about like who a lot of the players who've gotten suspended are. It's like wide receivers and running backs. I think a year off of playing corner, that is really hard to get your feet back.
Why is it different?
I just think with running backs and wide receivers and guys who get the ball, like you're never going to lose that athleticism. And with Terrion Arnold, who never really put it together to begin with, I think it's just really hard for corners. Like if you're not working consistently to try to, time up with DBs and get those, or with receivers and get those reps in, it becomes really hard. It's a harder playbook to learn. Like anyone can go out and run routes. It's harder to lose that skill, but the actual practice of learning playbooks and passing off guys in zone coverage and playing with teammates, I think that part of it's just way harder to take a year off from. In my mind, I only played football in high school.
I also just think though it's more of like these other guys that have been suspended were established players.
Correct.
They were guys that are like a Calvin Ridley who had to sit out for an entire season.
Kareem Hunt.
A team traded for him, in the midst of his suspension because it's like, yeah, we're willing to sit this out for a year. He'll be good for us next year. Yeah, like all of the 1 year suspended guys, not all of them, but most of them are pretty good players. And they don't usually get cut or waived by their team. And if they do, another team is willing to take a chance on them. Now, this could be that scenario for Terrion Arnold in Seattle. But also, if he doesn't end up playing with the Seahawks and they're ended up not being allowed to sign him, are they breaking a sweat over it?
Probably not.
No. Because Terrion Arnold is just maybe a good player.
Here's the other thing, too. I feel like this is very unlikely a situation where he'll get suspended for a single season. Like, if he's found guilty of this stuff, I feel like he's just done, right? Like, there's no way he's going to be allowed. We're going to let this guy back into the league. I know the NFL is kind of known for letting bad guys back into the league, but
right.
I mean, kidnapping, armed robbery, pistol whipping people, like, what? We can't let this guy back into the league.
Yeah, but those are all things that he didn't do personally, though.
Sounds like he hired some people to do it.
Sure, but it sounds like,
if he's found guilty of these crimes, though, like, I just don't see how he can end up playing in the NFL again, because a lot of the suspensions, like whether it's the gambling or the domestic abuse stuff, it's civil lawsuits, right? This one would be a criminal lawsuit. I don't know how you can allow legitimate criminals to come back into your league.
I'm just saying a lot of times in these scenarios, these guys just get out of it. They just don't get the guys that have money or whatever it is. They just don't get the proper ruling against them in these situations, or they somehow are able to finesse their way out of some. You know what I mean? Like, it's the justice system. Yeah,
if you've got
it's
money,
tough.
It works differently.
It's tough, and so I'm not going to be shocked if Terran Arnold is still playing in the NFL in a year. This season, I'd be very surprised, especially with the ruling yesterday.
Yeah. Thanks, Roger Goodell, for stepping in and making me feel more justified about the Lions parting ways with him. Anyway, the Tigers did end up losing yesterday. I don't think I'm going to sit here and just freak out. Oh, I can't believe they lost that game. Now today is a must win. I think we all just kind of understand that. You win game 1 of a series, you drop game 2. There's about 36 or so games left. You're in a wild card race. Today becomes a must-win game, and it's not that controversial to say. Like, I don't think we need to lead a topic with it, start banging our fist, being upset about what happened yesterday in the game, complaining that they only scored 1 run. Ashcraft pitched really well for Pittsburgh. I thought Kiter pitched exceptionally well for the Tigers, and it just wasn't enough yesterday. And that's fine. I'm not going to sit here and freak out about it, but what I can tell you is today, with a fascinating pitching matchup, Jackson Jobe, at one point was the top prospect in all of baseball for pitching, versus Paul Skenes, who was for like 1 second the top prospect in all of baseball for pitching, got vaulted up the farm system and became arguably the best pitcher in the National League for a quick second there. He has had a very off year, really, for the last month and a half. He has not been able to get his fastball anywhere near what his max velocity is. There's been a lot of speculation that he's hurt. I think the Pirates all but said it when they delayed his start from Monday to today to give him a couple extra days to get healthy. I'm not sure how that can all of a sudden fix his velo. That seems more like a fatigue thing. I don't think that's what this is. I think there's legitimately something wrong with Paul Skenes, and they're not diagnosing it right now. So all of a sudden today becomes a very fascinating matchup at 12:30 with going up against what was one of the best pitchers in baseball before this lingering injury in Paul Skenes, and Jackson Jobe, who we're all kind of fascinated with seeing how his third start goes. First one, awesome. Second one, total opposite. Might have been tipping his pitches. Now it's time to see him go toe-to-toe with Paul Skenes in what is a must-win rubber match series, because you can't afford to continue to lose series after getting swept by the White Sox over the weekend. Another series lost to Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden it's going to be real hard to come on this show on tomorrow, on Thursday, and still be convinced that this team can make the playoffs. But as of right now, I'm still fighting and believing and going into the game at 12:30 like this is a team that still has very high playoff hopes and can get in, even though they have all of these rookies contributing on a daily basis, Brett Callahan being the latest example of that.
Yeah, Tigers major underdogs today, too, just with Skenes on the mound, plus 143 on the money line for the Tigers. I do think that's what comes with getting swept to Chicago. You know, despite all of the building back that the Tigers did before the Chicago series, getting swept by them set you back so far based off of all of the time you spent getting back up into now we're looking at getting in via the wild card. And we've talked about it at the beginning of the show. We're going to do it at the end. We've talked about it every day. There are so many damn teams trying to get in via the wild card right now that it doesn't matter. Like, every single loss means so much because likely 3 of the other 7 teams that are trying to get in won. You know, if we're doing the numbers-based game here. And you look at the playoff percentages, they're just really low because one of these 6 teams get in. And the Tigers could still potentially do it via the division. It would have been a hell of a lot easier if you didn't get swept by Chicago. Thankfully, the White Sox are on the verge of getting swept by the Cubs. So That's nice. But
so
still,
a win here could go a long way.
100% it could. But it now puts the pressure on you to, like Ben said, win every series. Losing series is such a detriment now that you really don't have a chance at getting in via the division, and you don't have another shot at beating Chicago until the end of the year.
12:30, early game today. You get the night off of watching this team. It is kind of one of those games where if you're chilling at work today, find some reason to take a long lunch or something, man.
Or like you're going to be
versus
stressed
Job.
at work.
Either way, Skenes versus Job.
Yeah.
This is not even just from a Tigers playoff standpoint. This is just kind of a fascinating matchup across the league for anyone who follows it. Job and his third star back, and Skenes, who, has a weird elbow thing going on. This has a lot of layers to it, in addition to being the rubber match of a very important series for the Tigers and the Pirates fighting for playoff spots right now. 989-837-6125. Who's the most likely team to win a championship next? Do the Wolverines have a shot at making the playoffs this year? That's when we come back here on the Ben Bosscher Show. The 10 o'clock hour is brought to you by Aaron Insurance. They're all about putting you in a better insurance position, whether it's your home, auto, life, or business coverage. They make sure your protection actually fits your life. If you're looking for a team that takes the guesswork out of insurance, this is it. Be sure to go follow Aaron Insurance Group on social media to stay connected and see how they're helping people every day.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. In building repair on 100.9 The Mid.
It is Big Win Wednesday. Thanks to our friends at Garber Chevrolet and thanks to our pals over at Sandy Ridge. We're giving away a couple free rounds of golf for one person. You're going to get 2 passes. Text in the word Sandy to 989-837-6125. If you do that, you'll have a chance to win 2 passes to go golf at Sandy Ridge sometime this year. We'll pick a winner here within the next 15 minutes or so. Again, just text in Sandy to 989-837-6125. Most likely team to win a championship. I do think it's the Lions, but if we're talking about 3-year windows rather than just like, oh, this upcoming season, I do think Michigan deserves a nod here, deserves some recognition with Whittingham and Bryce Underwood over the next 2 to 3 years, if that's how long this thing can last. I do think that there's a pretty lofty expectation, not just to make the playoffs this year, but to compete for a national championship with Bryce Underwood at the helm. That has not changed. Like when Bryce Underwood flipped from LSU to Michigan, that was the expectation from day one. This guy can win them a national championship. None of that has changed, even though they flipped to their head coach. It's Kyle Whittingham now. You should feel even better about that if you're a Michigan fan. You've got a real offensive coordinator now. You've got quarterback coaches. You've got guys that are actually, coaching rather than sleeping with their staffers. This is a team that I think could make the playoffs this year if they can win that Oklahoma game. Like that is an enormous swing game here early on in the season, week 2. Last year was a game you didn't really compete with. The score doesn't seem all that bad. They doubled you in most yards, stats, they doubled you in first down, stuff like that. They dominated the game. That was kind of the story of Michigan last year. They beat up on the bad teams, couldn't win the good ones, couldn't win against the good teams, and they ended up missing the playoffs, of course. Yet they still won 9 games. Schedule's a little tougher this year. Now that they've got a real coach, I do think I am willing to put the expectation on the Michigan Wolverines coming in at number 16 on the season, or 17, whatever they got ranked by the AP yesterday, 2 days ago. I think they kind of have to make the playoffs here. And I think over the next 2 years, if I'm picking teams that I think can win the national championship, Michigan's going to have a pretty damn good chance, just as good of a chance as anybody, even though this year, specifically, it does feel like a lofty goal.
Yeah, but if we're just saying the most likely next champion, I would say it's more likely than not one of the Detroit teams doesn't win it this year, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so this could extend into next year, and it could extend. I mean, the Detroit teams have never won since you and I have been since little kids, since the Red Wings won it when we were kids. So
sad days.
It certainly is. It's okay though. I understand why you didn't include the college basketball teams here.
So we're just too far out.
Well, MSU is obviously going to win it this year, so you wanted to make this an anti-Izzo thing.
Sure,
I get it. It's all good. Someone's in the YouTube chat said MSU hockey will win the Natty this year. Both of the hockey teams apparently are supposed to be really good this year. We're not talking about that though. What about the Tigers?
What about the Tigers? That's a good
where
question.
does the Tigers fall into this mix for you? Because when you think about these teams that have a chance, there's obvious Red Wings and MSU football, throw them to the bottom. Then you have the obvious Lions, throw them towards the top. I think the Pistons, you throw them towards the top. Where they fall is a little bit different just because they were the 1 seed in the East last year, a game away from the conference finals. Yeah, I know that the East got a lot better. The Pistons are certainly contenders to win a title this year. Where does the Tigers fall in this mix?
It's a great question because on one hand, they might not be in the playoffs this year, which just completely eliminates an opportunity to go win it.
They probably aren't in the playoffs this year is probably the better way to put it. Still easily could make it, but more likely than not, they won't.
Right. With that being said, have you met someone who's more bullish on the Tigers core and all their young guys than me? I think you and I are both extremely optimistic towards what this team not only looks like right now over the next 36 and the opportunity that they have for themselves to go try to earn a playoff spot, which I do think they will still do ultimately. They kind of have to win today. But going forward, there is a lot to like between the 4 rookies that we've kind of been talking about. Hell, maybe Brett Callahan can join that group with Hal Uli and Eduardo Valencia, Max Clark, and Kevin McGonigal. You've got Jobe, you've got Melton, you've got Green, you've got Dingler. This is a deep team, and with how much money they're freeing up off of Skubal, off of Jack Flaherty, off of Kenley Jansen, potentially off of Glaber too, they have zero excuses to not go spend money in free agency if free agency even happens. Is it crazy to have the Tigers third behind the football, Lions and Michigan football? Is it crazy to have them above the Pistons right now?
Really? You'd have them above the Pistons? You'd have Michigan football even above the Pistons.
Yeah, I mean, until the Pistons make a move that I think puts them into the championship group, I don't think they're going to win a championship. I think that's fair. I think basketball is the easiest to recognize when somebody is and is not a title contender, and I think the Pistons right now are on the outside looking in. Just on the outside. They're one move away. But I mean, you would agree with that, right?
But is that you being high on Michigan football, or is that you being low on the Pistons?
I don't think I'm low on the Pistons. I think I'm just able to recognize, like, yeah, until they make that additional move, it doesn't matter if they're the 1 seed or not this regular season. Like, they clearly don't have enough scoring offensively to get it done. And maybe that move happens during the season and happens during the deadline, and then we can readjust this conversation. But as of right now, the way that the team is constructed, I don't think that this is a championship team. Whereas I think I see the core and the pieces that can make the Tigers a championship team down the road. They're just all really young right now. That's not really the case for the Pistons. I mean, they're young, but they're a piece away. They're a missing piece away. Is that all fair? Or,
yeah, no, that's fair.
Like so I would go Lions, Michigan football, Tigers, Pistons as my 4.
Even though odds-wise, you said I agree with the odds, Michigan is nowhere near the Tigers or... No, there's more teams, obviously. No. Tigers or Pistons.
No, the Michigan's third. The odds say
to win the title?
Yeah. The Pistons
I thought they were plus 40,000.
No, they're plus 4,000. Maybe I wrote it down wrong.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 4,000, 5,000, 2,500 Pistons, Lions 1,800. Yeah, I think I just screwed it up when I said it in the open.
Okay, yeah, then that's plus 4,000 for Michigan to win the Natty. Man, that's crazy. I mean, the opportunity's there for them. You know, we've talked about the schedule, about how hard it is. It also could be a positive.
Yeah.
You go 11-1 with that schedule. Yeah, like you are absolutely contenders to win the national championship.
Yeah, I think I kept saying 40-1, and then I must have slipped in a 40,000. But it's just 4,000 plus 4,000.
Okay.
So yeah, 40-1. If it happened 40 times, Michigan can win the national championship one of those times. I think that adds up. That's about right.
Yeah. It's just hard with the Pistons for me because I think that everyone looks at what of these other teams in the East did and are like, why did the Pistons not make a superstar move like that? And it's more of about what the other teams did rather than the Pistons. The Pistons like traded out 6 guys that were part of their team last year for new guys. Like they are like reinventing themselves as the 1 seed this year. And just because one of the names wasn't Kawhi Leonard or Kevin Durant, then everyone seems to be throwing a tantrum about it just because they did not add one of those superstar players.
Right.
Like they're shifting their identity from a defensive-based team to get more offense.
Right. It's just a matter of,
they're making a major
enough?
change. Like they recognize being the 1 seed, they still lost in round 2. It wasn't enough, and a major change had to be made.
Yeah. The unfortunate part is they didn't add the star players like the Kawhis, like the Giannis's, whatever it ends up being. And I don't even think Pistons fans are asking for those type of guys. We're asking for Michael Porter Jr.'s and Trey Murphy's, both of which never got traded from their respective teams anyway.
The reason why I think putting the Pistons 4th is just tough, because you're saying putting the Tigers over them too, right?
Yeah.
That just feels really hard based off of they were literally the best team in their last regular season. You know, out of all of the teams previous regular season, the Pistons were number 1.
They're also easily the
and
team
went the
that's
farthest
the
in
most
the
one move away
playoffs as well.
They're also the team that's easily the most one move away. Like if they added Trey Murphy, I think we'd be talking about this as maybe the number 2 team behind the Lions.
Really, you still would have them behind the Lions?
Probably. I mean, the East is just so loaded.
And the NFC's not?
The NFC is top heavy. I don't think it's loaded.
But being top heavy, we're talking about winning the Super Bowl. We're talking about beating all of the teams in the NFC.
Well, hopefully they can feast on each other. You know, like if Seattle and the Rams played each other in the playoffs, and you think Seattle's going to go 10-7, right? You think the Rams are going to win the division. So there is a world where those two play each other early.
Yeah.
Awesome. Those are kind of the only other 2 teams that like really freak me out.
Yeah.
Every other team I feel like is at the very least beatable.
That's the worst case scenario. I've actually already been thinking about this, which is maybe like extreme sicko behavior because, the football season hasn't even started.
Oh, trust me, dude. I've
like
done some
Seattle,
sicko stuff.
Seattle goes 10 and because I said yesterday I'm down on them, but I'm not down on them being like bad. I just think
Just
the schedule
record-wise.
I think the record's just going to be like worse than they actually are. Seattle goes 10-7, gets in as the 6 seed, and the Lions are the 3 seed. And it's like, boom, there's your round 1 playoff matchup. Seattle at Detroit. And I'm like, oh, Are you kidding me? Now, that's crazy to be thinking that far in advance, but, that's how much I'm fiending for football right now.
It's okay. Yesterday, I was just going through the week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4 schedule, just looking at what games I get to be excited about. Boy, can I tell you, Atlanta back-to-back weeks on primetime, weeks 3 and 4. That's got some juice to it,
I've got an
man.
Atlanta question for you. Let's really go off the rails here. Does Cooper Rush start the most games for the Atlanta Falcons this year?
What
does he
what,
take?
What does this show become?
Does he take the most snaps at quarterback for the Falcons this year?
No, I think it's Tua.
You think Tua's going to survive enough? And you think the other guy's going to survive enough? Cooper Rush might play the most.
A couple of lefties.
He might play the most out of all of them.
Which is exactly why I'm down on the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay, so your final most likely next Detroit/Michigan champ, 1 through 6.
Lions, Michigan, Tigers. The Pistons is just so tough because it's like they're one move away. They just haven't made the move.
And they're probably not going to. Like, we can't really be assuming it like we were earlier in the offseason.
Then I would go Tigers third because I really love their core and how young it is. Pistons
like a
fourth.
2027 outlook, essentially, for the Tigers.
Correct. I would go Red Wings second to last and Michigan State very last. Like way, way last.
Yeah. MSU being plus 40,000 just to win the Big Ten, just to win the conference they're in, pretty unbelievable.
989-837-6125. Again, text in Sandy to 989-837-6125 for a chance to win some free golf at Sandy Ridge. We'll pick a winner during the break. Stay tuned. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Garber Chevrolet presents you Big Win Wednesday every week. If you're looking for a new car, I can tell you from firsthand experience, Garber Chevrolet in Midland makes it easy. Bought my car there last summer. Whole process was smooth. No stress, just straightforward. Whether it's a new whip or a quality used vehicle, the team knows their stuff and treats you right. Garber Chevrolet, a place you can actually trust to purchase your ride.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
(989-837-6125). Congratulations to Mike. Mike is going home with certificates for Sandy Ridge for some free golf. Thanks to Garber Chevrolet for making Big Win Wednesday possible. Without further ado, let's take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
All right, welcome back in. Let's do Around the League today. So today for Around the League, I want to do a little game called Are You Buying the Hype? I'm going to throw some things out there, some training camp buzz. And Kyle, you have to tell me whether or not you're buying this or if you're all set on the hype that's coming out of training camp. Deal?
Yep.
You locked in?
Yep.
All good? Number 1. Travis Hunter.
No.
Come on, dude. You didn't even let me make my case.
It's all just been around the league is just a segment used for Travis Hunter propaganda. That's all it is.
Propaganda. It's not
We're talking
propaganda
about Travis
if it's
Hunter
just true, if it's just factual.
Travis Hunter twice a week on Around the League.
Listen to some of this stuff. Liam Cohen said, Travis Hunter came out of nowhere, makes plays. Like, I just can't coach that type of stuff. So Monday was the first day that Travis Hunter has only repped on the defensive side of the ball. No offense. Yet he is considered the wide receiver 3A, 3B, splitting that with Brian Thomas Jr. right now, with Parker Washington and Jacoby Meyer being the 1 and 2. Look, I'm not saying he's going to have 10 touchdowns. Sounds like he's going to be used occasionally on offense. Whenever there's 3 wide receiver sets, he'll be out there decent amount, which, you know, might be somewhere between like 5-10 snaps a game. Could be as little as that. I think this guy's going to be an absolute shutdown corner, though. An absolute shutdown corner. All the reporters were basically saying that, he just doesn't get targeted. Trevor Lawrence doesn't throw the ball towards receivers that he is covering, and he said that is his number one goal, to be a shutdown corner. Nobody catches the ball when they throw it to me this year. Are you buying the hype that he can be one of the better corners in the NFL as soon as this season? Because I certainly am.
No.
You suck. You're the worst. That's it. Just
you
no.
asked me the question. I say no. I don't need to give out propaganda about a player for 5 minutes straight about some.
It's not propaganda. It's true. He's going to become
reports.
Oh, it's okay. When Travis Hunter is,
they don't even know what he is. That's why I will not buy any Travis Hunter
I just
hype.
told you what he is. He's
And
a full-time
guess what?
DB who's playing wide receiver 3
and
half
yet,
the time.
And yet last year they all had it figured out what he was going to be last year too,
No,
right?
no,
they did.
they didn't have anything
But all the
figured out.
reports were that they did.
No, now
saying.
they've really got it figured out. That's what you don't get that part of it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I don't get it. So you traded a future first round draft pick and moved up in the draft for a corner to take third overall, second overall?
For a corner who's also going to score 4 touchdowns, yes.
Oh, so he isn't a full-time DB then?
No, he's a full-time DB who's the wide receiver 3 half the time. That is what he's going to be this year. full-time DB.
All right, and
when
that
there's
happens,
3 wide receivers on the field, he will be that third wide receiver half the time.
And when that happens, then maybe I'll buy the hype.
Deal.
But I certainly don't think that's going to happen.
What part of it is holding you back? You just
All
don't
of
think
it.
he's
We
good?
had all of-
Do you
no.
not think he's good?
I think they don't know how to play him. I think that they drafted an idea. I think that's all it was. I think he's a very talented player. Let him play one side of the ball. Just put him on one side, man. Guys playing two-way in the NFL, it's just not a thing.
You're putting a ceiling on guys. I don't like this.
No, the league is putting a ceiling on guys because it doesn't happen. There's so many other players in the NFL that are as athletic as Travis Hunter is. They just so happen to not play both offense and defense in college. I'm not saying anyone could do what he did.
I was going to say, I don't think there's a single player that can do what he did.
That's not what I'm saying. But they also didn't have the opportunity to do that because dudes don't do it.
Nobody does it. He came out of high school and they thought he could do this. He came out of high school with the ability to do this and always was going to do this from the very beginning.
And yet he hasn't.
He got hurt last year.
Was he doing it both last year before he got hurt?
They didn't know how to use him last year.
And I think they still don't. That's the take that I'm making.
Where would you?
Is it a
what
different
would you
coaching
play
staff?
Him? How
Is
would
it a
you
different
play him?
regime?
No, but you have a guy under his belt for another year, and it's pretty easy to figure out over the course of it. Like, you can say this about someone who doesn't play two ways. You figure out how to use guys and their skill set after you have a year with them. That is just called natural development and figuring out your own guys as a coaching staff. There has been some mistakes along the way, and maybe he won't ever live up to being taken second overall and all the draft capital they gave up to go take him. And the idea thing that you made a point of, that could easily be true, that they drafted the idea of him. That does not mean he can't turn into one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, because I think that was the level of talent that he was as a prospect, while he also was one of the best receivers in college football. I think it was always destined to be, you're the best corner in the NFL. That was the upside with Travis Hunter, who makes some plays on offense. That seems to be where they're going with this. And I think all that upside still exists, and I'm still willing to bet on it.
I just think it's no coincidence they won 8 straight games after the distraction of figuring out where Travis Hunter plays was gone.
He was great in that last game he played. Over 100 yards.
Yeah, you know when they were
catches,
also great when he
touchdown.
didn't play.
I think they got to figure it out with him this year.
I mean, this is just I just don't understand.
Don't understand. He made me like 600 bones one year.
Yeah, but no, the fandom, like you're just being a fan. Like that's all you're being here. You're just being a fan of Travis Hunter.
Oh, sue me for being a fan of a player. I like him. What can I say? I am a fan of his.
And so in the fact that when I'm being realistic and I'm giving out opinions that I think are based off of the history of the league and based off of, oh, the two-way guy got hurt, but he's just not going to get hurt ever again. Oh, interesting. Yeah, but you don't think that way because he's awesome?
You're trying
he
to
made me a couple bucks
to
in college?
him. You're trying to confine this special player.
I
won't have it. I won't have it, Kyle.
Man.
What is your, like, what's the best case scenario for him in your mind this year? Because I'm stating I think he's one of the best DBs in football.
I don't know because they don't know. Like if they just came out and said he's going to do this or he's going to do that, then I could have a realistic outlook for him.
Kyle, I'm telling you what they have openly said this training camp.
But doing both, that's what I'm saying. The doing both thing, then they haven't figured it out. Oh, he's going to be a part-time wide receiver 3? What does that even mean?
It means that this team runs a ton of 12 personnel, 2 wide receivers on the field, 2 tight ends on the field. And the occasional time where they are running 13 personnel with 3 wide receivers, Travis Hunter's going to be that a good amount. But when they have...
a good amount. Got it.
When they have 2 receivers on the field, which is their primary base formation on offense, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, he's not going to be one of those guys, which allows him to just play defense in a full-time role.
So sometimes maybe he'll be out there is what it sounds like.
You see the hands that he had. You remember the hands he had in college.
I'm not...
Glue.
See, right here, just goes back to the fandom. Oh, but his hands are crazy.
They are.
Oh, but
he's the best
nuts.
catch radius I've ever seen in college football.
What else do we got?
That was it. No, I'm just kidding. Are you buying the hype on Jacoby Lane, who just continues to build up the hype out of Ravens camp? The 6'4" USC receiver. Beat reporter from ESPN, Jamison Hensley, who's been on the Ravens beat for 27 years, said he's never seen a rookie have a training camp quite like Lane. You buying this hype, or is this a trope?
Ravens wide receiver. It's kind of all I need to hear.
Trope?
Nope, I'm not buying any hype.
Okay. How about David Montgomery? David Montgomery said, he told ESPN, I can do everything. I try not to categorize myself. It's not just a physical back. It's not just a downhill guy. He can do downhill, outside, inside. He can be a pass catcher. He is a lead back. Are you buying this hype?
I don't know.
I
because
want to.
We've got mixed reporting throughout Texans camp. At first it was like David Montgomery is ready to be the 3-down back. Like he's going to basically get RB1 workhorse type usage for the Texans this year. Mm-hmm. And then they were like, but also we're making Woody Marks a receiver. We're essentially turning him into like a receiving back. Like he's getting his route tree has been expanded. Okay, so which one is it? Because why would you be doing all that with Woody Marks if David Montgomery is going to be getting all of the workload? I also think that there just is if you're not Derrick Henry, you enter the 30 range. How much do I trust you to stay fully healthy while also keeping that agility and everything that makes David Montgomery what he's been? There was clearly a sign of regression last year for Monty, at least a little bit. I don't know. I want to buy. I think you're right. I want to buy the Montgomery hype. I don't think I am, though.
The reason to believe that it can happen is games like Green Bay, 32 rushes, 121 yards back in week 4 of 2023. He was a monster. And I do think he is more than just like a downhill between the tackles, tough runner. Like the best play he ever made as a Detroit Lion was through the air. It was that play against Seattle where he broke 14 tackles in one play somehow. I do think he has an underrated speed characteristic to him as well. Like we've seen him break loose and guys try to tackle him and he's just got too good of balance. I do think he's a lead back. 25 touchdowns in 2 seasons, not including last year. And I'm not sure if it was regression last year as much as it was bad offensive line. The only reason I'm kind of concerned about it is he's now 29 years old. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
But I want to believe in the... I'll buy a little bit. I'll half buy the David Montgomery thing.
I mean, hypothetically, the situation should be great, right? Oh, defensive team that wants to keep the ball. They want to run the ball. They don't really trust their quarterback 1,000% anymore.
I'll buy the hype. I'll buy it.
Yeah. It's the situation is there.
Last one, Baker Mayfield. Are you buying the Baker Mayfield hype that he can go into this contract season and really earn himself one of these $50 million 4-year deals, 3-year deals that a lot of his peers have made for themselves? Can he become one of the 10 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL this year? That's kind of the hype that he's throwing out for himself.
Yeah.
I think he can too.
Contract year Baker, I think I'm all in.
Me too.
We know the last time that this situation happened for him, things did not work out in Carolina. He goes to the Rams. He plays 3 games and earns a contract with the Bucs, and everything's been great since then. A motivated, trying to earn something Baker Mayfield, I think I do trust. I don't know how good the Bucs are going to be, but I think he himself has a good year.
Can I throw out 5 teams that I think he could end up playing for next year? Because it kind of does feel like he's just inevitably not going to be with the Bucs.
Yeah, but I think the Steelers is the only right answer.
He's already being linked to the Steelers. So that's
kind of so right.
That's the first answer. I'm going to throw out Atlanta. What if they just don't really figure it out with their quarterback and they don't want to draft one and have the ability to take a guy from within the division?
That would be kind of crazy.
Baker with this team, I think, would be pretty good with that roster. What if the Vikings just kept going with the carousel? Like every year they have a new quarterback? That would scare me as a Lions fan. I'll say that. If Baker was on KOC's offense.
Yeah, I'd hate that.
What if the Giants think Dart stinks and he just can't stay healthy, and when he is healthy, he's just not good?
Really? I don't see that one.
New York? You can't see New York picking him up?
Not as soon as next year, right?
What if Dart's really bad? Baker in New York would just be really fun, I think.
Yeah.
And then this is my favorite one. What if the Texans don't want to extend CJ Stroud? Baker Mayfield from Texas, by the way. Baker Mayfield in place of CJ Stroud in that defense? Tell me that's not intriguing.
I kind of like it.
I kind of like that one too.
Can I throw one more at you?
And then you could even trade CJ Stroud in that case, sign him and then trade him to
I think Stroud would have to be really bad for them not to pay him. I just think he kind of has earned the pay. He's been good enough to get paid.
Oh, that's exactly how you make a massive mistake if you're a team, though.
Sure. I guess, but like I don't know. I guess I don't know. The team that I think is a sleeper, back to Cleveland. Back to the Browns.
Would he really do that, though?
I don't know if he would. He certainly wouldn't go back to Carolina.
No.
Back to Cleveland, though.
What's intriguing about that situation, though?
I don't know. I kind of like Cleveland's team. Their defense seems pretty solid. Their weapons are young. Like, there's a chance that they become decent.
You just got to see how guys like Casey Concepcion and who's the running back, Judkins. Like, if those guys rock this year,
their defense is going to be pretty good this year. Like, I think Cleveland is a fine group. They just have maybe the worst quarterback room in the league.
Okay, I'll keep my eyes on that one. 989-837-6125, the Greater Midland Community Center. That's your hub for health, wellness, and fun right here in Midland. From fitness classes, open gym, swimming, youth sports, family activities, there's something for everybody. Affordable memberships, expert staff, and a welcoming space for all ages and abilities. If you're hosting an event, ask about the rental space and full-service event support. Stay active, stay connected, all under one roof at the Greater Midland Community Center. Learn more or sign up today at greatermidland.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mix. on 100.9 The Mid.
All right, welcome back into the show, everybody. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mid. I still can't get over the fact that Seattle lost 22-0 last night. And not only that, but their 21st run that they gave up was because Julio Rodriguez just launched a ball into outer space from center field. He didn't hit it from the plate. From center field, just decided to launch a ball into the crowd. And then they proceeded to lose 22-0, which was the biggest shutout loss, the largest shutout deficit since the year 1900. You know, that year 126 years ago. Julio, it looks like in the video, Julio Rodriguez doesn't even care. He's just like, nah, I just want this game to be over. And you know what? I don't blame him. I would have wanted the game to be over too. This has to be worse than going 6-22 in May. If I had to pick one or the other, going 6-22 in May, and like if they were just, I don't know, what's that, 20? If they went 14-14, the Tigers, they'd just be in a playoff spot right now by a pretty good amount. I would rather be in the position that the Tigers are currently in than in any singular point in the season get shut out 22-0, let alone when you're still trying to convince yourself you're a playoff team the way that Seattle is. I think that's the worst thing to happen to a team this year, unfortunately for them.
Is it worse than losing 70-0 in football? What's worse?
No. You don't see 22 runs. I mean, you never see 70. No, 70-0 has to be worse.
It probably is worse.
I need to see
because
that box score again.
Also, baseball, like, you lose 22-0 in baseball. Yeah, it's a historic loss. It's the largest shutout loss of the modern era. You can also just come back and win like 8-2 today. You know, like it's just very easily you just bounce back. Whereas in football, you lose 70-0.
Well, it was 70-20
or whatever. Yeah, you got to sit on that. Like
for a whole week.
You have to like. We just gave up 70 points.
Yeah, the defense just kind of goes into that week like, man, we suck and there's nothing. That's just not changing.
So 70-20 or 22-0 baseball.
22-0 is probably worse. But if it was like,
what about
72-0?
What about 70-0?
Then that would be worse. I mean, that's like Alabama playing the Citadel.
I remember,
except you're another NFL team.
Robbie Chosen even scored a touchdown.
Robbie Chosen Anderson
game. I remember it because I think Mike White came in and threw one. Like they just said, screw it, we're throwing another deep touchdown.
Yep.
At like the last second, it was like, oh, so they're like really rubbing this in.
Achane had 203 yards on the ground. Tyreek Hill had 157 through the air. This is
a lot
insane.
Of touchdowns.
They had over 500 scrimmage yards combined. They had over 600 scrimmage yards combined. The Dolphins did. That poor Denver Broncos team with Mr. Unlimited at the helm.
Really bad. That was Nathaniel Hackett too. That was pre-Sean Payton. Really bad. Pizza Man says losing by a record field goal is worse.
The Ravens game. Yeah, that one was tough.
Yeah,
Kyle and I were both
tough.
in attendance at that. Sitting somewhat near each other too.
Yeah.
Looking back at the pictures
I know.
before we knew each other. That's for sure the worst Lions game I've been to.
But that's the thing. The worst part about that game, everyone thinks, oh, the field goal is so bad. No, the worst part is that it was 4th and 20 or something, and Lamar Jackson just scrambles around and chucks it deep to Sammy Watkins, and somehow they get the first down.
To set up the field
like
goal.
It was legit like 4th and 20. It was like, oh, there's no way they get this, and then they did. That was the worst play of it, because you knew after they got that, oh, yeah, he's going to make this.
Yeah, it was, I mean, what's his name? Justin Tucker in his prime.
In the inside, like in a dome.
No, you're mistaken. The worst part about it was the Ravens fans in attendance that day that all thought it was okay to just shove a phone directly into my face and all my friends' faces and ask us how we felt about that.
I would do
repeatedly.
I mean, a game-winning field goal.
That was tough.
I honestly don't blame
I was speechless. I didn't have anything to say. I was so sad. And that was the last time I went to a Lions game and didn't break an arm and a leg to have to do it.
That was the last Lions game you've been to?
No, I've been to a couple since then, but they're just so expensive now.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a cheaper game, and it was the Ravens.
989-837-6125. 11 o'clock hour on the way, brought to you by Yiter Insurance. More on the championship teams when we come back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The
Conning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Welcome back in. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mid. The 11 o'clock hour is brought to you by Yetter Insurance. Life happens fast, and at Yetter Insurance Group, they're here to make sure you're covered every step of the way. Locally owned, trusted in Midland for decades. They treat you like family, not just another policy number. From home and auto to business life insurance, Yetter is the right coverage for every stage of life. Their team makes insurance simple with expert advice and real people you can actually talk to. That's Yetter Insurance Group. They'll be there when you need them since 1940. I do feel somewhat justified in the Lions parting ways with Terrion Arnold. I will tell you that. After Terrion Arnold gets put on the commissioner's exempt list yesterday, he's not allowed to practice. The signing with Seattle gets blocked. They said they still intend to sign him. However, Roger Goodell has essentially put pause on that. I do feel a little bit more justified in the Lions parting ways with him. After, Seattle tried to sign him, I started to feel a little, maybe the Lions parted ways with Terrion Arnold just a little bit too early. And that was certainly something we talked about when that had happened. And now I'm glad that feeling has been able to basically been put on hold. Not even put on hold, but just kind of like not exist anymore because of what happened yesterday with Terrion Arnold. Because of the allegations that are going against him, Roger Goodell says, no, you're not practicing, you're not signing, you're not playing games. Until that gets figured out, the armed robbery and kidnapping case, we don't want to be associated with you. So no more practice for Mr. TA. I do feel a little more justified that the Lions made the right decision. Plus the fact that he just was never all that great at football. He could have been good at football. He always had upside with that size. But there was a lot of like, man, there's always just more to be desired with Terrion Arnold. Plus, even before all this crazy stuff that went down in February, or at least that's when it became public, there was question of whether or not this guy had his head screwed on right, whether he really wanted it or not. I think the coaching staff felt that. I think they thought he walked with arrogance, walked with not just confidence, but arrogance. Kind of had a huge ego, was off doing his own thing a lot of the time, talking out his butt when he wasn't one of the better corners in the NFL, but certainly talked like he was. And look, you got to have confidence to play corner, but what that guy had was something different. Doing his podcast, hopping on the St. Brown Brothers podcast and saying his life feels like a movie, all this stuff, man. It's just, I think the coaching staff got annoyed with him. And once they saw this stuff come out, his name tied to kidnappings, armed robberies, pistol whips, whatever it was, I think they were like, yeah, we're good here. We don't even like this guy's worth ethic to begin with. So now that we see all of this, we're totally fine parting ways with him. That's just my kind of 2 cents on it. And now that he's been put on the commissioner's exempt list, I think it's totally justified to feel every single one of those things that I just threw out there.
Yeah, it sounds maybe messed up a little bit, but in the fact that they did release him and then Seattle signs him and you think, oh man, is he actually going to get free of all of these charges? Like, is he actually going to be able to play this season?
That was my first thought.
That would have been really annoying.
Yeah, that was my first thought. I was like, what are we doing here? Like, maybe the Lions gave up on this guy too fast. But
so like, maybe it's messed up of us to be like rooting on his downfall essentially. But I don't want that guy to play this year. One, for all the bad things that he's involved in, but two, like that would sting if he went to the Seahawks and played, even if he wasn't very good. Just if he played, and honestly, in that defense, he probably would not be bad.
No.
So it would have been very frustrating to see that happen. This is the best case scenario for the Lions, at least, because they look like they made the right decision.
Yeah, because watching him play, even like on a good defense, whether he was good or not, he was playing on a good defense. Meanwhile, while the Lions are giving up 280 passing yards a game, that would have been problematic. Like, we would have felt really betrayed by the Lions front office for giving up on a guy that fast. So the fact that he got put on the exempt list, okay, first of all, good on the NFL for stepping in and actually, using their power to block a guy from playing who's involved in a bunch of stuff. Now it's just a matter of what's the justice system going to do to this guy. And honestly, I don't want to sit here and say I'm preying on somebody's downfall. I think it'd be pretty crazy if he got out of this scotch-free. If he got out of this without,
Scotch-free?
What's the saying?
Scot-free.
Scot-free? Who's Scott? Where does that saying come from?
Scotch is a drink.
Yeah, in a tape. But who's Scott? Where does that come from? Scot-free. I'm looking up the origin of that right now. If he gets out of this, like almost like I can't believe that a rich guy got out of this again. And if the NFL were to allow him to play through that, it's just not a good look for the NFL when they continue to let horrible people continue to play in this league. And it sounds like Terrion Arnold might be in that group sooner rather than later.
And you're right in the fact that like a lot of the other things that go down are not. I don't want to like grade what is worse to do, but a lot of the stuff we've seen recently have been gambling indictments, and those are strictly like a lot of these are league-based things, right? Things that they're violating a league policy by doing this.
Mm-hmm.
There's no league
suspensions.
policy on this. This is just the law. This is just how you can't do these things that he's involved in. So this probably gets played out. Like, he probably doesn't get in any legal trouble for quite some time, but I would assume while that is going on, he will not be allowed to play in the NFL.
By the way, it's scot-free. Medieval England and Scandinavia, where scot was a local tax, payment, or shared levy. If you did not have to pay this tax, you got off scot-free. There you go. Learn something new every single day. You know what else I learned last night about the Tigers game? Pretty much nothing. And it's kind of weird to say that. I feel like I'm not really allowed to say that. Oh, what was your takeaway from last night's game? I don't know. I didn't really have any. Callahan hit a home run. That was great. Another rookie seems to be hitting the ground running the same way that Hao-Yu Lee and Eduardo Valencia and Max Clark and Kevin McGonigal have, and all that stuff is fantastic. But they lost the game yesterday. I thought Kiter pitched fine, and there wasn't any real overarching takeaways that shifted how I think about this team and where they stand in terms of the playoff race. It's them and 6 other teams that are competing for that final wild card spot. Still a little bit ways out of competing for that AL Central spot after getting swept by the White Sox over the weekend. They're going to have to make up a little bit more ground before we're ready to start having those conversations again, whether or not they can win the American League Central. But still in the wild card race, I don't think yesterday was like a detriment to their ability to win that final wild card spot. I'm still going to sit here and say I'm predicting them to go win that wild card spot. But with that being said, I don't think I'll be as like lenient and loose with another loss today, which would be back-to-back series losses and a series loss to 2 in a row against this Pittsburgh team. You just can't really afford to have 2 losses in a row anymore the rest of the season. And if you're going to do that, it better be sandwiched between 2 series in which you won both of those series. Any series loss from this point forward, which the rubber match is today against Pittsburgh in about an hour and a half, any series loss pretty dramatically swings how I feel about their ability to make the playoffs. I don't think that's an overstatement. So as little reaction as I have to last night's game, today's is one of the most important games of the season. I'm deeming it the second must-win of the year.
Yeah, but doesn't, last night's game, if you win that, then it takes away the importance of today's game.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
So saying, like, there was nothing, like, last night's game was whatever, like, they can lose that, whatever. But now all the stakes are on today. It's like, well, then that means there was stakes on last night's game.
Yeah, that's always a way to view it as well. I do think that.
And you're going up against Skenes.
Yeah, and now you're going up against Skenes.
Which we can talk about, he's having a rough stretch right now. It's still Skenes, man.
Yeah, it's still Paul Skenes. Going against this Pittsburgh team, there is something about it where it's like, and they still have a couple of guys that you're just kind of scared of at all times. Between O'Neal Cruz, who I know his numbers can say one thing, I don't care. When that guy's in the box, it's completely horrifying. And then you're right, Skenes is just one guy who, even when his numbers are down, it's just not a great feeling heading into a matchup against Paul Skenes when you don't get to see him very often, being an American League team. So, look, I do think there are pretty high stakes on today's game, and if they would have won yesterday, yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. But the Pirates have also lost the last 4 different Paul Skenes starts. They're 0-4 in his last 4 starts, even if he hasn't gotten the loss in all of those. He went 5 innings, 4 innings, and 5 1/3. And they just continue to lose all of those games.
That is a rough stretch.
That's not as rough as the stretch in which he had in the middle of the season where he lost 8 consecutive games. That was pretty horrific.
Well, I mean, he's never been a pitcher that has won games. Like last year he was the Cy Young with a losing record, with having like an insane ERA just because how bad the Pirates were. But the innings pitched, I mean, that's the concerning part for him.
Saying that it's too high already this season?
No, like 5 innings, 4 innings. Like this guy was a Paul Skenes. He'd throw 100 pitches every game. Like he would go very deep into games last year.
Against Cincinnati on the 31st of July, he threw 100 pitches in only 4 innings.
Because it's not just the velocity being down for him. It is also his control. It's just he's walking a lot more guys. He's just not getting as many strikeouts as he had. Overall, like the numbers are just completely down for him. I mean, last year, innings pitched-wise, he obviously led baseball in all of ERA, but he was top 10 guy in innings pitched last season and one of the top guys in all of the National League, top 4 in the National League. So this year, that's obviously not going to be the case. It's been an odd year for Paul Skenes. It would suck for his bounce-back start to happen today.
Yep.
But like Skenes right now he's not even top 35 in innings pitched this season without being injured. Like he hasn't like spent time on the injured list or anything. So everything is just down for him.
Yeah. By the way, Tigers right now 1 game out of a wild card spot. Baltimore and Cleveland also 1 game out of a wild card spot, but you don't own the tiebreaker over them. Minnesota and Toronto a half a game out from a wild card spot. And then the Texas Rangers in that final wildcard spot with a half-game lead. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams, and then Seattle 3 games out. But we're just going to eliminate them on our own after last night. I think you should automatically be disqualified from the playoffs if you lose 22-0. Sorry. So 6 teams competing for that final wildcard spot. Another loss today would be pretty detrimental for the Tigers.
It's like the rule that I created for baseball where if you get what did I say? 6? Yeah, if you get 6 errors in a game, you lost. The game's over. The second the 6th error is committed, the game's over.
That would be so fun. You're like You're
It's
like, oh
over.
my God, they have 5. I would lower it down to 5, honestly.
Yeah,
You have
5.
5 errors in a game.
I'll do 5.
Go get some help,
The
man.
second the 5th one happens, the game is over. Like, you lost. It could be close.
Imagine you have 4 and everybody all of a sudden has the jitters. Like, man, the Mets would lose a game a week if that was a rule.
They should add rules like that into a game. Like, if you when you shoot a jump shot and it crotches into this, or wedgie is what some people call it. I call it a crotch. I have a rule that if you do that, if you're playing basketball, you're kicked out of the game.
Oh.
But you should do that. But that seems a little bit aggressive. If it happens twice to you in a game on a jump shot, you're out of the game.
Out.
It's like being ejected.
How about this? If you drop the ball before you cross the end zone, like those where they let go of the ball,
you're kicked out.
You should be suspended the next game.
I mean, the team already might suspend you.
Yeah.
The team might do it anyways.
Kicked out of the game plus suspended for 3 games. You have to miss an entire month of the season unpaid.
Yeah,
I'd be down to implement that rule now. It is insane that this still happens once or twice a year.
Thank God Jahmyr Gibbs never does this stuff. I think Jonathan Taylor did it last year, and he was on my team when he did it. And
it's the worst.
Is that the worst thing that could ever happen to you in fantasy football? I would rather lose off of some stupid BS to your opponent's guy having a weird score or something or like your guy fumbling when you were already leading the matchup. Your guy has a chance to score a touchdown and drops the ball because it's also a fumble. Like, instead of getting the +6, you're actually losing 2. Yeah, that's the worst thing that could happen. I like that suspension. We got to think of one for hockey, too.
Hockey, maybe.
But see, these are individual ones. Ones where the team just loses the game. I think baseball, 5 errors. You get 5 errors, the game's over.
Okay.
I don't really know what you could do in
the,
basketball or football for the team to just lose the game.
I got a good one in football. What if you go 0 for 4 on 4th downs? Like if you're already 0 for 3 on 4th downs,
no,
and you got to do another one, it's like, dude, like if you don't get this, you guys auto lose the game.
That feels. I mean, you could go 0 for 4 and win the game. Like, it's not like just because.
True.
The reason why the errors thing is like, if you have 5 errors, you're probably already losing.
Lost.
Let's just call this thing early, man.
My whole thing on Saturday
Save
nights
some time
here at the ballpark, and I don't know, maybe I shouldn't say this, but like just in general, if you lose by more than a touchdown, fireworks canceled. Not doing it. We're not launching off fireworks after we lost by over a touchdown.
It's not the fans' fault that they lost.
I know. But it's
on.
just like all time, like, oh man, I can't believe what just happened. We should come up with a bunch of obscure rule changes one day. That'd be fun.
Those are the first few, yeah.
989-837-6125. Already told you that the 11 o'clock hour is brought to you by Yiter Insurance. But if you're looking to move, meet Matt Smith Modern Realty, redefining real estate with a fresh modern approach. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, Matt Smith delivers personalized service tailored to you, cutting-edge marketing, local expertise, and commitment to making your real estate experience as smooth and successful as possible. From cozy starter homes, luxury properties, they know how to find you the perfect fit. Trust a team that combines innovation with real-world know-how. Matt Smith Modern Realty.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Myth. on 100.9 The Mid.
(989-837-6125). I feel like I never got your answer for this most likely to win a championship. I think I would go Lions 1, undisputed 1, Michigan 2, and this is just like the next championship, not just this upcoming season. But if we're going like big picture, who's the most likely up next team to win a championship? I would go Lions, Michigan football with Bryce Underwood and Kyle Whittingham, big believers. I would go the Tigers 3. I really like their young core. I really do. The rookies have been so good this year. They still got Job and Melton for the next couple. You can see the foundation. It's there. And then I would go the Pistons 4th. Because I think they're one move away. And if they make that move, they probably just leapfrog the Tigers. And Michigan, honestly. But they haven't made the move yet. So I would go that as my top 4. And then Red Wings, Michigan State, they're so far down. It's not even really worth bringing them into the conversation. But who would be your top 4? What order would you go?
Yeah, I'd have the same bottom 2 for sure. Top 4, hard to not say the Lions, just based off of expectation coming into this season. Now, if we were a year in advance, though, like if they don't win it this year, I don't think I would have them number 1. Like I don't know how good it looks after this year. Not saying it's like Super Bowl or bust this year, but this is clearly the best opportunity they have this season if they ever were to do it. Just based off of the schedule, everybody's under contract, all of that stuff. Now the injury stuff and secondary stuff is certainly a question mark. Lions are number 1. Yeah, it does feel good. After that, I think I would put the Pistons number 2.
Really?
I think I would. I mean, they're 60 wins last year, the 1 seed. And like they have made changes to their roster. And I understand that it's not what everybody wants, but at the end of the day, how often does the number 1 seed 60-win team just like make major replacements to their rotation like the Pistons did? Just because it's not a huge name. You call them major? I think so. Like, I mean, they sent out their second best defensive player in Isaiah Stewart. They sent out the second best scorer in the playoffs in Tobias Harris and replaced him with John Collins. They drafted a guard that might get some mix in the playoffs here. Who knows? Trading for Isaiah Joe is certainly going to be a guy that plays a ton for this team. Like,
I think
they made major changes.
I don't know if I'd go as far as major, and I'm not just arguing with you and disagreeing just to disagree, but Isaiah Stewart barely played in the playoffs, so I think getting rid of him.
Sure, but he was a part of their whole identity of 60 wins.
Correct. Like, he's part of the reason they I don't know. I look at the Pistons right now, and I don't know if they're all that much better than they were last year. Meanwhile, the East is just way better.
The Thunder and the Spurs each won 60 games this year.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do? They're running it back. Their teams are running it back. Their starting lineups will be the exact same.
I mean, would you take the Pistons in a series against either of those teams?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you that that's not at all what I'm saying. I'm telling you that 60-win teams typically don't just make big-time changes to the way that their team works. And I think the Pistons did. And I think that's something that should be recognized in a positive way. Like, oh, they won 60 games. However, we realized that there was a ceiling to this and there was a cap to this. And just because it wasn't the big-time names that we wanted, we're failing to recognize that. And so that's why I would put them second. I would put Michigan football is not winning it this year. So then it's just off of and obviously the Tigers aren't either.
Can they build a strong enough foundation this season to make you believe for next year?
It's just could something happen enough this year for me to take them over all of Ohio State, Oregon, Indiana?
For next year? This year or next year?
Could they do something enough this year to make me think that going into next season? You know? I don't know.
I think they could. I mean, a 10-win season should probably just do that.
Over all 3 of them? I don't know. I just, to win the national championship, you got to be better than everybody. And they have yet to prove they can be better than the good teams in their conference.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go, and we feel the same way about the Tigers going into next season. Yes, I know it's next season. Everyone hates that phrase. We're doing it anyways.
I feel great about the Tigers heading into next year, no matter how this season finishes. That's the best part about the youth movement that this team has had over the past month.
Yeah, especially with one of, if not both of, Josue Briseño and Zaire Hope on the team next season. That's very fun. 2 more top prospects joining the squad. So I would say Lions, Pistons, Tigers, all the Detroit teams I have first 3, and then Michigan football 4th.
Not a believer in the Bryce Underwood, Kyle Whittingham era.
It's not that I'm not a believer.
No, there's a reason to have all that's the.
I think the other teams are more likely to win before they are.
It is nice to be aligned with the Lions, though. Like, to go into an NFL season in which it's not outlandish to say your team can win a Super Bowl. It's always a good starting point, and that's where the Lions have been for, this will be the third consecutive year they get to enter a season doing that. And I have a feeling that's kind of just how it is for the Lions for the next couple of years.
A little bit of disappointment
nice.
last year maybe will hinder some people from viewing that way.
Yeah, I think you take one look at their schedule, and you're going to feel a little differently.
Pizza Man says 0 is winning anything in this town.
Sweet,
Too many
thanks.
mediocre GMs.
Thanks.
Thanks for letting us know.
Yep, thanks. Thanks for the positivity. Crane's L&M Appliance Center has been serving the Tri-City area with quality home appliances from refrigerators, washers, stoves, dishwashers. Backed by friendly, knowledgeable staff you can count on, they make sure getting the right appliance is easy with delivery, professional installation, haul away for your old unit, and even financing options to fit your budget. Stop in at Crane's L&M Appliance Center today and discover dependable brands and great value for every room in your home.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid.
Welcome back into the show, everybody. Let's make sure we're not missing anything that happened yesterday. Heading into tonight, it's Kyle with the news.
The Mits Morning Catch.
Okay, more news.
Yo.
Community calendar presented by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. It's Wednesday. Farmers Market.
Hump day.
7 to 1. You got 90 minutes to get down there. Go ahead, get you some lunch. Come back, watch the Tigers. Sounds like a pretty good Wednesday to me.
Go Tigers.
And it looked like it was going to rain earlier, but it looks sunny and blue skies now.
I think it rained last night. I got outside and it was kind of wet.
It's like cloudy all morning, but it looks pretty nice out right now. So back at Dow Diamond Farmers Market, Midland Area Farmers Market. Go check it out till 1 today. As I mentioned before, the Tigers start off against the Pirates in Game 3 of their 3-game series today. Jackson Jobe versus Paul Skenes at 12:35. We're very excited for that matchup. Okay, more stuff going on with this Lakers situation. The Buss family, outside of Jeannie Buss, reiterated their intention to sell the remaining shares in the LA Lakers, saying in a statement that 5 of the 6 members of the Buss Trust are united in their decision. Of course, Jeannie Buss being the lone member of the family that doesn't want to sell them. That's got to be tough to be her, man. Your entire family's just like, we don't care what you think. We're doing this anyways.
Yeah, she's the only one that's like, oh,
your family.
my father's legacy. Yeah. I don't really want to just sell that to the evil empire that is this new business state coming in and just... it seems like this money's coming from a lot of sketchy places.
It's your family, man. Like, that's just... God, that's got to hurt. Really tough stuff. Former Michigan State Spartan Jackson Kohler is officially back for a 5th year of college basketball, but it will not be with MSU. He announced yesterday that he has entered the transfer portal. The teams that are interested in reaching out to Jackson Kohler include Kansas, Kentucky, Louisville, and BYU. BYU is the team that was heavily rumored when the ruling got given out to all the class of 2022 guys that they could come back for a 5th year of college basketball. Jackson Kohler was a part of the Utah Jazz Summer League team. Utah Jazz and BYU with extremely tight ownership groups there, with Ryan Smith being involved in both. So Kohler to BYU feels like it's going to happen. This is going to hurt, man, for the Spartans to see Kohler in another uniform. I don't think he ever wanted to leave, but Tom Izzo's not going to take advantage of the 5th year thing, and the team is already set, so Kohler's got to go elsewhere.
Yeah, look, if Tom Izzo was playing this the right way, he probably does just bring Kohler back, or Cooper, like trying to. But you know Tom Izzo, he's going to do things his own way, and he wants to turn the page, and he celebrated senior day once, and once you do that for Tom Izzo, you don't get to do it again.
Precisely. Yesterday in Saints-Cowboys joint practice, there was a ton of fights. Did you see this? There was like 3 or 4 just huge fights.
I saw the massive brawl that ended up having a suplex in it.
Yeah, I mean, it was that like the entire time. Is that the reason why Dan Campbell and the Lions moved away from doing this? Because, oh my goodness, I mean, these guys, I get it, football players, it's an aggressive sport. You get all this pent-up energy from not playing football and not having this physical contact for months and months. You don't got to fight everybody. I mean, there's a difference between that and playing football.
I think that's the total opposite reason that the Lions got rid of the joint practices. I think they beat the Dolphins the life out of them. They beat them senseless so bad that they decided that we practice harder than everybody and we're not getting anything out of these practices anymore. This is a little bit different. The true fights. What are you guys doing? You're there to get better. You're not there to compete yet. You're there to get better, work on your own stuff, just against different people than what you're used to going up against every single day. Yeah, it's a very emotional sport. High leverage situations. Save it for the games, though, man.
It's messed up. With that practice, though, being between the Saints and Cowboys, we got some Saints news this morning. Alvin Kamara suffered a knee injury. I don't know if it was in this joint practice or not, but he is going to miss at least a month going forward, which obviously will trickle into the start of the NFL season. So, unfortunate there for Alvin Kamara. He obviously has a new running back mate in Travis A-Chan.
Right.
I think we're going to call him that this year. Who knows?
I think I'm going to go ahead and decline that one.
Well, he gave everybody the green light to say, well, you can still call me ETN. It's been like that for so long now. Like, I don't really care.
I think I'm just going to rock with ETN. The 3 initials. I don't even know how to spell it, to be honest.
I just can't because
go
it's
the 3
funny.
initials.
I just can't because now all I think when I see his name is that it's Travis A-Chan now. So does that mean his stock is up going into fantasy football draft season?
I actually think he might be pretty good this year in a fantasy football league. If that's like your running back 2, I think you're in pretty good shape.
I think so too. He's probably going to get drafted a little bit higher now than he was already going.
Just because of the
Kamara injury? I would think so, right? I mean, Kamara's going to miss the first couple weeks probably.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I kind of think he just walked into this season as the RB1 anyway.
Yeah, but now, I mean, Kamara wasn't going to not play.
Sure.
I mean, he's been there for his entire career. So we'll see. College football. Actually, let's do this NFL news because this is really big news. ESPN announced they're adding Pat McAfee as an analyst to its Monday Night Countdown pregame show. So
time to watch the Manning cast. I'm adopting the Manning cast.
If Jason Kelce wasn't enough for you on Monday Night Countdown, boom. McAfee and Jason Kelce were so pumped up for this.
If McAfee's legit on the coverage, like I'm not talking pregame, like he's just one of the color guys.
Well, no, he won't be.
Okay, thank God, because I was going to say, I will watch the Manning cast.
And one of the it's just Aikman. Like, it's fucking Aikman.
So he'll do McAfee and... So we're going to have to listen to this crazy guy all day Saturday, which I think he's fine on college football, to be clear. Like, that's kind of his lane, his type of energy. If it's the game day crew, I don't need him on my Monday Night Football, and unfortunately, they're shoving this guy down our throats as much as they possibly can. Have you noticed the shift in his approval rating, though? It feels like there's a lot of people who are just kind of out on Pat McAfee
because
now.
we see him too much.
I know.
You see a person too much, you get sick of him.
He's also one of the more unserious people that we have.
Yeah. I've never really been a huge McAfee guy. Like, it's not that I've disliked it. Yeah, it's just that's for a certain crowd, a certain audience. It's
for above IQ individuals.
It's just not for me. I'm not a huge McAfee guy. And he also is shoved down our throats. And I think that's kind of a reason why I have not been a huge fan of him. And we're getting more of that here with Monday Night Countdown. Him and Jason Kelce in the same way. Like, anything we can get these guys on, put them on it. It's just, like, ridiculous at this point. Why are they covering golf? These guys aren't golfers.
I don't know. Because ESPN fired everybody else that they used to employ?
Yeah, for real. It's pretty ridiculous. Shout out to Tom Pelissero, though, who just joined the Ringer.
I like the Pell Raiser.
Another picking up scraps from ESPN. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, Michigan transfer quarterback Davis Warren is still around. Yes, he's going to get the starting quarterback nod for Stanford in their Week 0 game against Hawaii. There's one of your big Week 0 matchups, Stanford versus Hawaii.
Ooh.
And Davis Warren getting the start. Shout out to him.
You know, the ironic part is I'll probably watch the entire game just because
it's one of the better games. Like it's not a. It's a real game. You know?
Week 0 is just for the sickos, man. Just throw it on. Just throw it on. You don't have to like pay attention, but just to have football that actually counts for something, even if it's bad teams, it's a nice refresher.
Yeah.
I always say that football doesn't really start until the NFL starts. I know some people think that's crazy. I'm an NFL guy over a college football guy. Week 0 is like a night. It's one of the better appetizers that we have in sports.
Jacob in the YouTube chat. Davis Warren, isn't he like 87 years old?
Yeah, he might be.
I think something like that. Our guy Al Carson from Pride of Detroit on Twitter posting all of the preseason Week 1 PFF grades for each of the first-round rookie offensive linemen. I know that this is something that Ben will appreciate. Blake Miller, the highest-graded rookie offensive lineman out of the first round. Francis Mauigoa was pretty good as well, but way better than Proctor, Ione, Fano, Kalen Rutledge, Caleb Lomu, Monroe Freeling. Obviously, there's a ton of first-round offensive linemen this year. Blake Miller was better than all of them.
Which makes sense because he's the most experienced guy of that entire group. That was the whole thing,
and
right? 52 starts in college.
Played against the starting defensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals, too.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't playing against scrubs.
Yeah, he had a really strong performance. Looked like he belonged on the field, which is certainly encouraging.
Yeah, very. We mentioned this a couple days ago that Jason Benetti is going to be a part of NBC and Peacock's basketball coverage on NBA this year. He also has been added to their NBC college football lineup. So Benetti has been a part of Fox the last several years. So really going full NBC shift right now once the Tiger season is over with college football on NBC and Peacock and then NBA.
And Benetti on Notre Dame games?
Yeah, MSU and Michigan get a good amount of Peacock and NBC games as well. So That'd be pretty sick to see him on any of that stuff. Couple more things
More
here.
Benetti. Benetti
Yeah.
just makes me smile, man. He just makes my life happier.
Benetti enjoyer, that's for sure. A couple more things in the news, and then we will get to our couple of traditions, however many there are, to end every show. In the WNBA, last night, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, they each scored 20 again. They've done it 16 times in the same game this season, and that is a new WNBA record for a pair of teammates to score 20 in the same game. 16 times, that's the most times a duo ever has. We'll close the news with something funny. Yesterday, we mentioned how Ketel Marte of the Arizona Diamondbacks just didn't show up to their game against the Red Sox.
Do we have an update on this?
Just a no-call, no-show. We do have an update.
Thank God.
Arizona Diamondbacks manager Tori Lavulo, after the game, said that without being told, Ketel Marte traveled back to Phoenix for tests on his left knee and was surprised at the lack of communication with the all-star second baseman. So he was just under the circumstance, and I guess everyone else on the staff was too, that Marte was going to show up. No, he went back to Phoenix to get tests on an injured left knee.
How does that happen? How is there a miscommunication where the team doesn't know, but somebody sends him
to me? That thinks that he just did Marte just decide on his own, him and his agency, that hey, we got to get this tested, because there has to be probably a trainer of some sort is involved too, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't know, so
weird.
At least it seems like a valid excuse. It's better than him just like, oh, I was took a nap, or I was hanging around Boston a little bit too long, you know. None of that happened. It's a big series, though. The Diamondbacks are trying to make the playoffs. They're playing against a good team. Not having Ketel Marte is pretty tough.
989-837-6125. If you're looking for a steady hand when it comes to your financial future, Kevin Spencer with Edward Jones, right here in our community, takes the time to understand what matters most to you. Helps build a strategy to get you there as well. Reach out to Kevin Spencer at Edward Jones today, because goals deserve a plan that's personal.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mid. on 100.9 The Mid.
Few traditions to close out every single show. First of which, we're going to try to make a little bit of money. I call it the lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Nice starts of the week, Kyle. 2-0 to open up this fabulous week halfway through August.
Indeed, pretty good start. Right now on the week, you are up 1.5 units, and you're just down 0.3 units in August. So with a win today, you get back up above for the first time since like the first week of the month.
Yeah, what do we have? The Nerfy yesterday, Tigers money line on Monday. Today we're going with a player prop, Jackson Jobe. I'm taking his strikeouts again. I did this the first 2 times he started this year, I believe. At least one of them. It's still sitting at over under 4.5. I'm taking the over here. He's had 4 strikeouts in each of the first 2 starts, and he's went 71 and 74 pitches. If he just gets let off the leash a little bit and is allowed to go a little bit further into these games, I mean, the last game he got taken out because he got lit up.
Went too far last time, yeah.
Yeah. If he just like at all can throw 80, 85 pitches, somewhere in that range, I just think he's going to get this 5 strikeouts. And as long as this number is still at 4.5, I'm just going to continue to take it at 5. So minus 106, I think that's pretty good odds. I know it didn't hit the last time he got lit up in his last start, but Jackson Jobe's a high-velocity guy. He's going to attack the zone. I think this is a high strikeout guy once he does find his stride. It's just taken him a little bit longer to find that stride in his major league career. So I'm going to still believe in the talent and the stuff that he's got, and I'm going to continue to believe that one day he will be someone who has a strikeout over-under of 6.5, 7.5. This is about as great a value as you can get on Jackson Jobe's strikeouts in my mind, so I'm going to continue to take it as long as it's this slow, even though there hasn't been success with it in his first 2 starts. So I'm taking the over, 4.5, minus 106. What do you think?
I like it. I'll tail it.
All right. That is our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Let's go with game of the day next.
Game of the day.
Game of the day, trying to predict what's going to be the best thing that we have on television today. Couple rubber matches across Major League Baseball that are for sure going to be interesting. Let's take a peek at the full scoreboard here.
Dang, this isn't just a Skenes versus Jobe lock here?
12:30, though? It's kind of tough to be the game of the day if it's during the day. It's kind of got to be a night game. Like, it's somewhat of a primetime slot. Although, on ESPN Unlimited, Braves Twins at 1:40. A lot of early day games today just because of getaway games. Cubs playing a home game, too, with their game against the White Sox, an early game. Orioles Yankees on Prime Video. It's got some potential to it since the Orioles have some stake in the wild card. Or is it just the follow-up of what the Mariners did yesterday?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Got to go see how they respond.
You got to see how the Mariners respond. You do have a pretty good game, Giants-Guardians, for you minor league baseball sickos. The tugboat, Mac Wilkinson, is making his debut for the Giants. He's been a fun prospect to follow, but who really cares?
You know what? I'm convinced. I want to see how the Mariners thing follows up. I'll for sure be tracking this game and how it goes.
Like, what if they lose
Gilbert,
21-0?
They might. I just want to see how this Mariners team responds to losing 22 to. Was it 22 or 21?
22.
Yeah. How do they respond to losing 22-0? We shall see.
Low key, Mariners money line is lock of the day.
Really?
They're just gonna win.
Plus
it's how
110.
It's how baseball works, man. You lose 22-0. Oh, you win 6-2 the next day.
Yeah.
Or not. I mean, maybe 22-0 is too much. Where
I think it ended their
recover
season
from it. Yeah,
I really do. Like, I just don't know how you can bounce back the next day if that's the case. But we're gonna find out. So that's gonna be our game of the day.
Game of the day.
I got 2 words for you. Steve Nash and Chris Paul. Must-see TV.
Michigan fans, they have nothing to worry about.
Let's get to scoreboard watching. So yesterday, not only did the Tigers lose, but the Orioles also lost. Thumbs up.
Scoreboard watching.
Unfortunately, though, the Guardians beat the Giants, one of the NL bottom feeders, in an 8-1 victory.
Scoreboard watching.
Another team that's in this wild card race is those pesky Seattle Mariners.
Scoreboard watching.
And we already know what they did yesterday. 22-0 loss. Twins. They won.
Scoreboard watching.
Beat the Braves in an upset victory. The rubber match for that one will be today. And that might be the second game, actually. The White Sox and the Cubs. White Sox continue to lose. They've lost 2 straight to their crosstown rivals, the Cubs.
Scoreboard watching.
And the Astros lost to the Angels yesterday. Angels doing the Tigers a lot of favors as of late. First they were knocking out Texas. Now they're beating the Astros. Astros are now 63-63. I believe still technically in first place, yes, of that West division. But the more and more these teams lose, the more and more it's likely that the Tigers can claim one of these final playoff berths.
So who are we rooting against today?
Today you're rooting against the Twins, who play the Braves, the White Sox, who play the Cubs. You're rooting against the Orioles, who play the Yankees, and the Guardians, who play the Giants. And you know what? Why not? You're definitely rooting against the Rangers today as well, who play the Nationals. There you go. That's scoreboard watching. Last tradition we have, got to predict what Colin Cowherd's going to open up his show with. He takes over our airwaves at noon, Fox Sports Radio, The Herd with Colin Cowherd. You might have heard of him. What do we think he's going to open up his show with? Did any of us earn a point yesterday?
I'm going to need your help here, Ben. What did he lead with yesterday? It was 68-68 going into yesterday. I can't really remember. He did the Ty Simpson lead 2 days ago. I think he went back to football yesterday. But I can't remember.
I'm having a really hard time remembering. Let me see if I can pull this up.
I don't even know what I guessed. Because I guessed first yesterday. I think I went back. No, I went back to the Lakers thing. I don't believe he led with that. I'm pretty sure he didn't lead with that. And I think you just guessed the Bears or something, which
Caleb Williams, always a safe pick.
I don't think either of us got a point. That's why I can't really remember. Oh, no, he did a baseball lead yesterday. That's what it was.
Right.
He talked about Pete Crow Armstrong and the Chicago Cubs versus the White Sox. That was his lead, which I'm happy he did that. That was a good lead yesterday. I just didn't expect the baseball lead. That's why we didn't even remember it, because it was that crazy.
Totally out of nowhere for Colin to lead with baseball in that Chicago series. But now that he's doing the shows out of Chicago, I guess it's just a little bit more prominent.
So it's your turn to go first today. 303 is the episode number. 68-68, still the score. Still the race to 69.
I'm not feeling good about today. I don't have a good guess.
This whole week, there's just not a lot going on. It's kind of all bag work for Colin. I think I have a guess. I don't like my guess, but I do have one.
Think he talks McAfee?
I hope not. We don't need it on other networks, too. I mean, he could just go back to PCA and Ohtani, MVP race.
I'm going the fight at practice yesterday.
No.
Yeah, I'll go with the fight.
No, that's crazy. You picked that. I thought
you were gonna go.
Yeah,
with?
I was just like, okay, something happened with the Cowboys. It's a reason to talk about the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'll go with the fight.
Really, man, I did not think you were gonna pick that. That's really unfortunate.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Sniped.
Wow, get stumped. He's a Mariners fan. They lost 22-0.
You might talk about
there's something there. I will go right back to the PCA Ohtani MVP race. PCA had another home run yesterday. I just think it's still fresh. Back-to-back baseball leads would be crazy, but what else is he going to talk about? So I'll go back to the National League MVP race.
We're both wrong. It's going to be Caleb Williams.
Probably.
All right. That's going to do it for us today. Hopefully the Tigers can pick up a win, go home from work or something, see if you can find a way to watch this game, because boy, oh boy, is this going to be a big one with Skenes on the mound today. Oh, we did get a Tigers medical update. I'll make sure to throw that on our Facebook page since we're about to end the show here. I don't know. I have to read it.
Mainly just Riley Green.
Let me look. Riley Green. He's completing a return to play, hitting, running, and defensive progression. Nothing update. Absolutely nothing update. The Kerry Carpenter stuff is bad, though, so I will provide an update on Facebook. See you guys later.
The Ben Bosscher